One Piece: The Legend of Creation, Chapter 461 to 480. 461 picked up a Feijun. Then what are you going to do now? Lu Chengkong has already hidden his spiritual pressure. Even if the servant leaves the soul world, he will not be able to find him in a short time. You have achieved your goal, and you have to draw a knife with the old man. The old man Yamamoto didn't know why this time he was not angry with the unjust act of Zaragi's sword, but said to Zaragi's sword in a very calm voice. It's very simple. I have already encountered a bottleneck in my kendo. When I meet a god of death like Jingle Chunchui, maybe I can let them kill me directly without the ability of kendo, but it's not enough to meet a god of death like you. So I need you to help me break through the existing layers. Zanpakuto pulled out the Zanpakuto in his hand with a swipe, not holding the sword with both hands, but holding the sword with both hands and using the most basic kendo. Although it is extremely powerful, it is fundamental to a super master of kendo such as Old Man Yamamoto. It is Guangong who is playing a big sword in front of him, so he has to hide his strength. At the same time, he also holds the sword with one hand to show his current kendo cultivation. God's will is unpredictable. Why an old man like you can't be accepted as an apprentice? Sometimes old man who also wants to be like you and Lu Chengkong, be a man of style and unrestrained, but unfortunately this old man can't. You are right. If you want to do what you want, show your likes and dislikes without any scruples, and let everyone follow your own will, you must have the same strength. The god of death abides by the law because of the strength of the old man. Righteous. Now it seems that the old man is not enough. The old man Yamamoto used Vivi with both hands, and the crutches immediately shattered, revealing the Zanpakuto inside, but the old man Yamamoto did not have a Shikai, and the strength of the Zanpakuto rarely allowed him to liberate the Zanpakuto, but he had a deep meaning. The old man has the heart of accepting disciples for you, but his reason tells the old man not to do this, but life is so helpless. The old man is old, and he has been sticking to justice for so many years, and in the future, the old man will continue to implement justice firmly plus fully, but people will always feel more emotional when they get old, and it is easy to become lazy, so the old man decided to indulge once. This time is the last indulgence in the old lady's life. In the future, the old man will definitely implement the justice in his heart and will not show mercy to anyone. If anyone commits justice, the old man will not let him go. Including you. Come on, this old man will accompany you to go crazy once today. I will give you everything I know, and you can decide how you will become in the future. It is better to cherish the present if you think so much. How much you can learn depends on yourself. More wood sword. Yamoto Motoryu A Changuo, Zengerjan and Yamamoto Motoyanagi I Changuo read out each other's names at the same time to show respect for each other, and Zengmujien also seemed to be swayed by Yamamoto Motoyanagi I Changuo. The moment's performance was infected. His performance was quite satisfactory, and people thought he was a well-behaved noble rather than a fighting maniac. Take it. Zaraki Jien rushed over. Nothing works. Instant step. Ghost Dao, all those who beat him for nothing. He was only using kendo at this moment, and so did the old man Yamamoto on the other side. Whether it's the love of talent, or the fact that he is too tired and wants to indulge once in the last years of his life, the old man Yamamoto decided to teach all the kendo he knows to Zanaki Jien, even if he will become a great enemy in the future. He doesn't regret it. People are so wonderful sometimes. Their battle has begun. Zakagi returns to his hometown. Don't let me down. You are the strongest god of death in my heart. The title of sword belongs to you, and even old man Yamamoto can't take it away. In a sparsely populated place on Liuhun Street, in front of a uniquely shaped house with a pair of huge arms holding a banner, a man looked at the endless sky in front of him through the window and muttered to himself. Hey, let me say. Lu Chengkong, you bastard, you have been gone for so many years. After I left Lingting, you have not come to me, and now you have finally come. You ignore me and think about things, don't you? Don't you know it's disrespectful to be distracted with a beautiful woman? Zibo Kong asked very straightforwardly and cheerfully. There was no woman's restraint at all. but it was her bold personality that made so many friends, and Lu Chengkong was one of them. I am sorry, but can't you be a little more gentle about Konghe? Lu Chengkong didn't know if it was intentional or not, but his words immediately made a tic-tac-toe appear on Konghe's forehead. Stupid, this is the character of the old lady. If you are upset, you will get the fuck out of the old lady. Your kid is getting more and more arrogant and lustful. There are so many women around, except one of them is Shanghai's wife. I have an unclear relationship with you, well, that's all. It's been a while since you've been here with me. When you go out to buy something to eat, you can pull in a woman. You're really an idiot when you're an old lady. I don't know why I've always been so forthright that I don't care about anything. The lofty Zibi Kong felt very uncomfortable when he saw that Lu Chengkong was carrying so many women and so many of them were very beautiful. I don't know if it was for his good sister. The night is not worth it. Or because of some unknown reason. In short, she is very unhappy now. That's why this is the case. What you're talking about is Kazuna. I've said it all. When I came back from buying food, I met her and she fainted on the ground. When I walked over, I found out that she was starving and fainted. After I woke her up, what did she say? I refuse to leave for the rest of my life, and I have to report to leave. Lu Chengkong said with an innocent look on his face. He didn't lie either. I don't know if it's because he was lucky. When he was having a meal, someone would bring food. When he went out to buy something to eat, he could meet Byakuya's wife in the legendary original novel. Inside a corner of Seoul Street. So Lu Chengkong, kindly, saved him. Unexpectedly, when she woke up, she only said that she hoped that she could adopt her sister. Of course, she knew what her sister was. She was obviously very smart. From her clothes and her temperament, she could guess her extraordinariness, and at that time, she also had to choose a way to support her sister in order to make a living, so she could only reluctantly abandon Rukia in the hope that someone with a good heart would take her in. Aunt Choice didn't think that she might be really hungry before she went back, so she fainted, and was rescued by Lu Chengkong, so she immediately thought of her sister, and with a glimmer of hope, she even said that she was a cow. Ma only hoped that Lu Chengkong would take in their sisters and feed them. For the current Kazuna sisters, it should not be the greatest happiness for many people in the Seoul Street in the Seoul world to have 3 meals to eat and eat, so it is normal to say such things, and change to other flow Seoul streets. The same will happen to people who meet. 462 Konghe's declaration. It may be due to Feijun's gentleness and elegance, softness on the outside and firmness on the inside, a touch of sadness, and a light smile, or it may be that adopting a pair of sisters is too easy for Lu Chengkong, so Lu Chengkong. He didn't refuse, and agreed directly. He didn't intend to let Feijun be a bull and a horse. It's a pity that Feijun is soft on the outside and tough on the inside, very stubborn. She thinks that Lu Chengkong saved her life and took in her sisters, but she refuses to live or die, but Lu Chengkong can only agree, she is indeed better than the original Lu Chi. There are many Asian and American, that is not the appearance, but the beauty of temperament and soul. So with Lu Chengkong's consent, Feijun couldn't wait to bring Lu Chengkong back to the place where Rukia was placed, but unfortunately when Feijun took Lu Chengkong to the place where Rukia was placed before, she found that it was already a person. The building is empty. Therefore, Feijun felt that God was punishing her, and she was so angry that she fainted in grief. Now she was brought back by Lu Chengkong and placed in Zibo Konghe's house to recuperate. He doesn't worry too much about not being able to find Rukia Lu Chengkong. In his opinion, the world has inertia. Although this inertia can be broken, if there is no strength to break or fight the inertia, it is very likely that there will be no. In the case of variables, it will continue to develop according to inertia. For example, a baby like Rukia is incapable of fighting chickens. Even if he promises to adopt her, it is useless to save Feijun. She still ends up the same as in the original book, and she still goes to live somewhere in Liuhun Street. On the contrary, Lu Anju, Yi and others have powerful strength, they can control their own destiny, and they can do whatever they want, while Landau, Soma Fengye and other women are because of Lu Qingkong's powerful strength and the reason that they are variables. Forcibly reversed their original experience in advance, so they would not be affected by the so-called inertia at all. In the final analysis, it is not a problem of strength. And Lucia Lu Qingkong didn't have any food or time or effort to find her before, let alone change her mind, or maybe she knew the fate of her original book, and there was nothing to change, so Lu Qingkong didn't make a move, so in the end, she was abandoned like the original book, and even if she went back to find it, she couldn't find it. However, I believe that Rukia will come out at a certain time. There is no need to find it by myself. Just because Feijun has changed her destiny by herself, Rukia will also be affected and changed a little bit. There will be a period of time in the original book because of the status of aristocrats, and there will be a gap with my childhood friend Renji and others, not to mention any rules, pay attention, and of course, there will be no more noble status of the eldest lady of the Kuchiki family. Everything is good. It's really not clear whether it's bad or not. The only thing I know is that Lu Qingkong will never let Feijun die like the original. Although he looks exactly the same as Rukia, his personality is 108,000 miles away from the original Rukia. He was still very fond of the woman who had withdrawn from Yuanbei. HMPH. Zibo Kong snorted coldly, although she knew that Lu Qingkong was telling the truth, but her heart was still sour, quite a bit like the emperor was not in a hurry and the eunuch was in a hurry. But she didn't notice Lu Qingkong's playful eyes looking at her. Kong Yi's performance and some small actions made young Lu Qingkong, who is already a veteran of Hua Kong, understand that this little girl should be in the mood for spring, or that she liked him very early like Yi Yi. But maybe because Yi Yi understood her intentions earlier than her, and made a move to pursue her, and didn't want to destroy her best sister's feelings, the feeling that she didn't understand what it was in her heart was immediately forcibly extinguished. Now the resurgence should be seeing so many women around him, and there will be a subconscious thought that even if he joins, it will not destroy Yi Yi and himself. Although she may not have a clear understanding yet, her heart instinct is to let her do it. The same feeling in her heart revived after seeing so many women around Lu Qingkong. Of course she felt uncomfortable and became jealous. However, because of her unique personality, she is very cheerful, tolerant, and very angry. The way she is jealous, the way she speaks is relatively unique. But I said, it seems that you are not me. Why did you jump out on the night when they didn't have any opinion on me? Although Lu Qingkong was basically certain that Kong He should have a good impression of him or even had a strange feeling for him, he still had to be sure, so he deliberately stimulated Zibo Kong. Yeah, I'm not one of his. Why are you in such a hurry? To Lu Qingkong's surprise, Zibo Kong not only did not get angry, but instead changed his boldness and style. Kuota's style was a little lost. Murmured. Then as long as you are my woman, can't you be anxious? Lu Qingkong didn't know why Vivi felt a little pained when he saw Zibo Kong, who has always been a bold and invincible royal sister, who was known as a domineering sister. The idea of making fun of Zibo Kong before has been thrown away, and he directly hugged Zibo Kong who was lost in his arms, and kissed her under her surprised, disbelieving, and shy eyes. Red lips. Be his wife. Such a domineering man. He took away the first kiss from the old lady without asking whether she agreed or not, but why is the old lady neither unwilling nor unhappy besides being a little shy? Zibo Kong is a strange woman after all. Although she was a little shy in the face of such a battle for the first time, she did not lose her sense of proportion. Instead, she thought about it calmly. Ju met. Instead, he took the initiative to stick out his small sweet tongue and clumsily responded that Lu Qingkong was worth it after he left with difficulty breathing and stopped. I want my old lady to be your woman. HMPH, how can there be such a simple thing, waiting for you to defeat me? Although Zibo Kong has determined that he has certain feelings for Lu Qingkong, her style makes her I didn't want Lu Qingkong to succeed so easily. Because she knows that the easier things are obtained, the harder it is for men to cherish sometimes. Oh, so do you mean that as long as I defeat you, you will be my wife? Lu Qingkong knew that in the face of a woman like Sister Invincible Yu, the so-called modest and polite actions of Buttercup would only make her dislike, disdain or even disgust, but not contrived, bold, straightforward style can play the biggest role. Yes, that's it, but it's just one of the conditions. I'm not afraid to tell you that I'm not one of those women who will die without a man. If you beat me, you can't satisfy me. I will kill you if you go outside and mess around with flowers, and even if you can't kill you, then you will never touch me for the rest of your life. 463 Sora Craters Zanpakudo. Astonishing. Such astonishing words actually came from the mouth of a woman whose first kiss had just been taken away. It is really the style of the invincible Yuji. In the world of death, a woman who can say such rhetoric is in Lu Chengkong's cognition. There are only 3 at present, one is Lu Anju, the other is Yi Yi, and the last one is Zibo Kong in front of him. Oh, then can I understand that as long as I satisfy you and conquer you in bed, but you can't satisfy me, then I can justifiably follow an order to pick up girls. Although Zibo Konghe's words are a bit ugly, they express her true portrayal vividly, and at the same time she also expresses that although she is not the kind of woman who will die without a man, she is also not that kind of woman. Unchaste, dissolute woman, otherwise she wouldn't say that Lu Chengkong couldn't satisfy her, and she would kill Lu Chengkong, or she would never let Lu Chengkong touch her if she went to mess with her. If she is really the kind of slutty woman with her style, she will definitely say that she can't satisfy the old lady, and if she is provocative, the old lady will give you a green hat, but she is obviously not like that. Obviously she has put her determination, it is expressed, no matter what, whether you are satisfied or not, you are the only man in my life. No matter how the old lady belongs to you alone, it is obvious that Zibo Kong is the kind of woman who is more rational and absolutely devoted. Once she decides, she will follow through to the end, even more thorough than the so-called implementation of justice by old man Yamamoto. And also more sensible. That's right. The old lady is not that kind of chaste woman. No matter what, the old lady will follow you in this life, and the old lady's heart is only you as a man. Of course, whether you can do it or not depends on your ability. Zibo Kong nodded her head, although her face was a little flushed, she still said very calmly. Okay, let's fight first. I must conquer you, the invincible royal sister. Lu Chengkong nodded and said happily, he just liked Konghe's style. And Yi Yi's forthright and straightforward. The difference is that he is not pretentious but at the same time has a little more tenderness and warmth than Kong. Konghe is the kind of person who follows through to the end. Her love is so direct and violent. If you don't have a chest strong enough to accept her love, then you will be destroyed by her love first. And Yi Yi's love is violent and fierce, and at the same time has a little toughness and tenderness, and a little more chance to maneuver. Generally speaking, each has its own advantages. If Yi Yi and Lu Anju are the candidates for wives, then Empty Crane is the candidate for the best lover. I don't know who beats who. Don't think that you will win. Although I don't act like a bullshit captain, but if I think about it, most of the captains in the Soul Society can kill them now. That's right, as a student in the same class as Lu Chengkong and Yi Yi, and a Shinigami who ranks among the best in the genius class, how could his strength be weak? But she hates the Shinigami or the system in Seirenge, so she graduated after that. She left Serote directly, and she didn't have a trace of nostalgia at all, so many people didn't know her strength. After saying that, Zibo Kong stood up, changed into Yishi's battle suit, and brought Lu Chengkong to the basement. It seems that all the gods of death in this world like to have a basement under the house. I have already set up a barrier here, and it should be able to withstand our battle. At this time, Konghe's boldness was hiding an unknown and delicate heart, but it was revealed. After all, he can be the contemporary head of the Zibo family. How could there be no wisdom? Of course she knew that Lu Chengkong's spiritual pressure could not be perceived by others. Okay, I also really want to see, what kind of skills do you have, Zibo Kong, who has never taken a shot. Lu Chengkong walked into the barrier, his eyes fixed on the delicate body, and he was like a murderer at any time. Zibo Kong, like a female leopard, said. You can see it right away. I think now the soul world only remembers the 4 great nobles, but it has completely forgotten that there was once a family that wanted to use the joint efforts of the 4 great nobles. let you know why the Shiba family, once one of the 5 nobles, was attacked together. Zibo Konghei's eyes narrowed, and his originally piercing eyes became extremely empty, giving people a gray, empty, and shattered feeling of despair. What is this? Even if Lu Chengkong saw Zibo Konghei's eyes for the first time, he couldn't help but tremble in his heart. These eyes are very strange. In the eyes of outsiders, the so-called magic that our Zibo family has inherited from generation to generation is actually the ghost way. Hee, I think not many people know it now. A family that also has a lot of magic weapons. In the eyes of outsiders, the Longtang Temple family is vain, but the results are too dangerous to be expelled. In fact, the most terrifying thing about them is Kendo. Kuchiki clan, the Kuchiki clan who used to follow the Spirit King might be very good. Now, it's a piece of trash, and he even forgot what his ancestors were best at. If it wasn't for his ancestors who had the closest relationship with the Spirit King, how could there be any Big Four? The head of the aristocracy, all the 4 nobles except the Saifeng Yuan family have fallen. I'm sorry, I said so much nonsense for a while, so let's go straight to the topic. Our Shiba family can exert the power of ghosts to the extent that other gods of death cannot, but if it is just like this, it will not attract the 4 nobles. The joint attack. Today I will let you see the Zanpakuto that I have never seen before. Open your eyes, ghost eyes. Zibo Kong was originally empty, and his deadly eyes suddenly changed, and his pupils became very demonic. The ghost eyes were really not wrong. Broken down number 4. Bai Lei. Zibo Kong didn't say anything unnecessary, he directly shot a white thunder, and an amazing scene came out. But Lu Chengkong could smell a dangerous aura from this Bai Lei. Oh my god, it was only the number 4's break that could actually make Lu Chengkong smell the danger. It was terrifying. What if it was number 30, 40, 50 or even 90? No wonder the Zibo family was besieged by the 4 major families. Boom. Lu Chengkong dodged sideways, but Bai Lei still shot at the rock-like rock wall behind Lu Chengkong. With an explosion, the power was very small. Bai Lei, who only had paralysis and penetration ability, actually blew up the entire rock wall. Not only that, but also blasted a deep pit with a radius of 5 meters on the ground. 464 fighting the sky crane. Why are you surprised? But this is just the beginning. As soon as Ji was finished by Konghei's voice, a wave mark suddenly appeared near the top of her head, surrounding Zibo Konghei's head, causing Zibo Kong to give a kind of like a messenger who controls the ghost realm. The 31 Scarlet Artillery. With the appearance of the wave imprint, the red artillery released by Zibo Kong this time has obviously undergone a change visible to the naked eye, which is at least 2 times larger than the red artillery released by the General Death God. Times close to 3 times. The 31 Scarlet Artillery. Lu Chengkong wanted to see how strong Zibo Konghei's ghost ability was, and how demonic her Zanpakuto ability was, and he also used the Scarlet Cannon. It's a pity that in front of Zibo Konghei's overgrown red cannon, Lu Chengkong's red cannon smashed and was directly smashed, and the speed of the red cannon released by Zibo Kong did not slow down at all, and hit Lu Chengkong directly on the body. Have you noticed it? When such a wave mark appears on my forehead, the power of the ghosts that is far superior to all the ghosts of death will be doubled, and the person who fights with me at a long distance is much stronger than me. And there is no doubt that he will die. The 61 way of binding the way, the 6 sticks, the 63 way of breaking the way, the thunder roar cannon. No, not only does it break the Tao, but even the power of the Tao has been doubled. Originally, after the release of the Zanpakuto, Konghei's ghost Tao power far surpassed other death gods, but now it has doubled, not 1 plus at all. 1. It's that simple. She's right that you can't fight long distances. Lu Chengkong's expression did not change, but countless thoughts flashed in his heart. In the face of such a mysterious and powerful Zanpakuto ability that had never appeared in the original work, Lu Chengkong had to deal with it carefully, especially the strength of Zibo Kong itself. It's very powerful. This is just showing her ghost ability and Zanpakuto ability, and there are other abilities that have not been shown. A glimpse of the cold. Hanju, domineering, directly took the knife without any extra action, but the knife that made the enemy have nothing to escape and couldn't dodge directly cut the thunder roar cannon and the 6 sticks of light. At the same time, Lu Chengkong also made use of his impressive speed, pulling out a dozen afterimages and rushing towards Zibo Kong. I'm sorry, you're a little late, the second wave is engraved. You won't think that my Zanpakuto is just simply enhancing the power of ghosts. I'm not afraid to tell you the truth. Back then, a certain generation of our Zibo family owned a Zanpakuto like mine, and finally attracted the joint siege of the 4 great nobles. Today, the Zanpakuto in my hand is far away. It is much more powerful than the Zanpakuto of the head of the Shiba family in that era, and has a murderous perception. Zibo Kong suddenly smiled. Looking at Lu Chengkong's amazing speed, she didn't worry at all. Her body seemed to be automatic without wind, and she actually dodged Lu Chengkong's attack. Ice Blade Wave Sword. Zibo Kong waved his right hand, and an icicle immediately appeared in the air, extending towards Lu Chengkong at an extremely fast speed. The speed was so fast and the distance between Lu Chengkong and Zibo Kong was so high. It was so close that it was impossible to dodge at all, and it was directly hit. Click. Lu Chengkong directly blocked the icicle with the snow-drinked crazy blade, but half of his body was frozen. Although he removed the ice block in an instant, his movements were still a little slow. And also gave Kong He a chance to fight back. Ghost Seal Pearl, Evil Light Slash. Zibo Kong shot out a ball of light. Although its power was not great, its toughness was amazing. It actually entangled Lu Chengkong in a short period of time. At the same time, a huge sword-like energy the wave attack has also arrived. Frozen for 3 feet. Lu Chengkong's eyes flickered. He felt that this ability was very familiar. By the way, isn't this the ability of Ashura in the DNF that he played in his previous life? Although the abilities, effects, and diversification are much stronger than Ashura, there are many effects that are relatively similar. Can't you stop it for a while? Can you stop it for a lifetime? Breaking the way. Frozen 3 feet. That's right, this time Lu Chengkong is not passively making moves. Just now, he has been defending. Except for Zibo Kong, who controls the rhythm of the battle like a mage, he wants to find out what Zibo Kong is. The ability is almost there now, and it is also an opportunity to fight back. In addition to being defensive, Frozen 3 feet actually has another effect, that is, the formation of ice, which directly traps the enemy. Just imagine that if the ice with such amazing defensive power traps the enemy will be difficult to attack in a short time. The shattered ice escaped. Trouble, I'm really annoying, the defense is so amazing that it can't be broken. Zibo Kong obviously didn't expect Lu Chengkong's move to only act as a defensive sword to have such an effect. You've been fighting for so long, it's time for me, Taojiaoyao. The Shuiyan Mad Saber in Lu Chengkong's hand spun around, slashing at Zibo Kong as if he had no strength. It seems like there is no knife, but in fact it is extremely strong. An overwhelming huge ice blade formed in the air, slashing at Zibo Kong with a thunderous force. It's troublesome, the fluctuations erupted. Zibo Kong sighed, but she didn't expect that the rhythm that had been controlled by her would change in an instant. She was glad that the man she liked was strong and also aroused her competitive spirit. It's not so easy to admit defeat, even if you like this man. If you can't convince yourself, no matter how much you like her, you won't be his woman. Of course, she won't choose anyone else, but choose to help this man secretly or silently to become stronger, hoping that he will surpass her one day. I have to say that Zibo Konghe's love is really unique. It can even be said to be silly, but this is her persistence, and it is easy to move people. But obviously Lu Chengkong didn't need her to do this, but Lu Chengkong also felt her heart, and was really moved. He scolds Kong for being an idiot, but he is also serious. This is his respect for Zibo Kong and her love for him. He will definitely defeat Zibo Kong and make her convinced. Don't let her wait for herself, she must take care of this invincible Yuji, conquer this invincible Yuji, and cherish this baby who is a little silly because of love, but very touching. What a strange power, is this Konghe's Zanpakuto ability? Lu Chengkong felt an indescribable force that pushed him straight away. The power was not large, and even Lu Chengkong himself could not feel the power. He hit him, but strangely, he was still pushed out. 465 Bankai of Sky Crane. 465. What a troublesome ability. It seems that I really underestimate the god of death in the world of death. I thought that my Zanpakuto ability was different and amazing, but now it seems that I am not the only one who has a different Zanpakuto. It's just that because of his special circumstances, his Zanpakuto is even more amazing in terms of power and speciality. Before Lu Chengkong could experience this special power, his body had already been pushed out, and at the same time, Kong-he had a chance to resist his own attack, and of course he also escaped being killed by his own Piqiao. End. The third wave mark. Maybe it was the appearance of the third wave mark, which made Zibo Kong return to his self-confidence from the beginning when Vivi was a little embarrassed. The third way. The first way doubled the power of the ghost way, the second way quadrupled the ghost way's ability, and also added some special but very powerful stunts. The third way. What is Dao? Lu Chengkong didn't know why he was looking forward to Zibo Konghei's performance more and more. Take the move, Shira Exigong /. Compared with the pure blue sword energy in between, it was thicker and became three-color sword energy. Without exception, they were forcibly cut open, as if the three-color sword chi cut tofu instead of the earth. It's not over yet, the real good show is yet to come. Take me a move, 73, Shuanglian Kang Huoping. Bang! The scorching high temperature directly cooked the nearby air, as if a small the sun-like gigantic explosion with a suffocating breath shot Lu Chengkong together with Shira Nagwangjin. What a terrifying ability to increase the ghosts, not to mention the peculiar ability of this Zanpakuto. The only thing it can do to the ghosts is that it is already extremely terrifying. No wonder the Zibo family was besieged back then. I heard what Kong-he said about her / The Pakuto is much stronger than the one that was the head of the Shiba clan back then, and yes, this is just Shikai, so what about cracking it? Lu Chengkong's clothes have been fluttering with the strong wind brought by the double lotus blue fire pendant and the Shira evil light /, and at the same time, the black hair of the shawl has also fluttered with the wind, making Lu Chengkong appear more elegant and unrestrained. Treading the snow to search for plums. Using the sword with the legs and using both the sword and the legs, the response was unpredictable. Lu Chengkong shot the Shuiyan Quangdao under his feet, turning it into a huge ice blade that overwhelms the sky and dominates the world. When the situation is strong, the strong momentum directly destroys the Shuanglian Kingwo pendant and the Asura evil light in front of him. What a powerful sword technique! The power of the ghost path of number 73 I used was far superior to other death gods. I didn't expect that after getting an 8-fold increase and adding the Asura evil light /, it was still destroyed. Well, it looks like I can only be Bankai. Quote. Zibo Kong said with admiration at first, but in the end he did not forget to be narcissistic and praised how amazing he was. Baiyu is the man that the old lady likes. Your strength is beyond the old lady's expectations. In this case, the old lady doesn't need to hold back anymore. You are the first person to see me Bankai. As long as you defeat me Bankai, then the old lady belongs to you, Bankai Shira Ghost Eye. As soon as Zibo Konghei's voice fell, a powerful crimson spiritual pressure suddenly erupted from his body, which was very visible to the naked eye, and this surge of spiritual pressure continued to rise at an alarming rate, and at the same time, this crimson spiritual pressure also began to occur. After the change, a pair of angel-like wings was formed on the back of Zibo Kong, and it was a bit like Shira's Shira wings. Was a Vivi in his hand that was bent upwards, but the curvature of the curve was not large. It was a bit like a Chinese sword. The blade was wider, but the length was a little shorter than the normal Zanpakuto. Layers of deep red glow. Ha! I'm not used to using Bankai in actual combat for the first time. You should be careful. After Bankai, the old lady didn't dare to say that she could control her strength. Don't blame me if you die. Thief open-air thunder cannon. Zibo Konghei's eyes turned cold, and after Bankai, there was a 5th wave mark near the top of Zibo Konghei's head, which means that the power of ghosts has been improved again. Oh my god, number 88's breaking path has 16 times the power. The improvement is simply astounding. Such a Zanpakuto, especially if it falls into the hands of the Shiba clan who are proficient in the Way of Ghosts, and who are good at it, can enhance the power of the Way of Ghosts to the greatest extent. It is simply a tiger with wings, and it is difficult not to be besieged. I didn't expect that Zibo Kong, who was invisible in the original book, was so powerful, that he could force me to such a level, especially when my ghost is in front of her, who is a ghost master and has the power of Zanpakuto. Simply superfluous. Maybe many gods of death in the original work have been hiding their strengths. Not only will they not be released for a moment of life and death, after all, after living for so many years, of course, they know that the more trump cards they live, the more moisturizing their lives will be. Although the Zibo family has fallen, there are currently only 3 heirs left. But in fact it is keeping a low profile. Compared with the Kuomu clan and the Shadalu clan, which are in the limelight, they are actually strong outsiders in the Shadalu clan. The lack of power and the loss of rights are nothing more than the loss of the real strength. It has not weakened at all, but has become stronger. One Zibo Kong is enough to support the entire Zibo family. Lu Chengkong sighed, raised the snow drink crazy blade in his hand, and burst into an ice blue light, but he was more happy in his heart. Isn't it his pursuit to fight against all kinds of powerhouses? Only by fighting against such a strong person can you become stronger. The stronger Zibo Kong is, the happier he will be. After all, conquering such a tyrant is very rewarding. Ice Blade Bing Shin. Lu Chengkong snorted coldly, and Shui Yin Kuang Dao suddenly stretched his arm forward, and the dazzling ice blue light burst out immediately, and the terrifying power of frost spread out in all directions as if it didn't cost money. A thunder cannon like a laser, and on one side is the power of frost like an ice age. The two collided fiercely in this enchantment as if water and fire were born, and with a loud bang, 2 deep pits appeared in the earth under the feet of Zibo Kong and Lu Chengkong, and the surging energy fluctuations were like water cloaks. There were ripples in the air wherever the rippling came out, and everything on the earth that was melted by this energy was directly destroyed. When all the dust settled, as the smoke in the sky was blown away, the figures of Lu Chengkong and the two had been revealed. Lu Chengkong was still the same as before the battle. Kong he was a little embarrassed, but he didn't suffer any substantial damage, just a little dust on his clothes and face. 466 Harem Manager. After all, a few years ago when Lu Chengkong was in Shikai, he could use the Ice Blade and Ice Heart to fight against old man Yamamoto's Ruo Ren Ruahuo. After a few years, he became more powerful, although the power of ghosts used by Konghei's Benkai after that was terrible. But Bingren Bingshin is no joke. Ahem, you bastard, when you were in Shikai, you actually forced Benkai, who is so powerful as my mother, into a disadvantage, you bastard. It's no wonder that old Yamamoto was so embarrassed by you back then, and now I think about your strength compared to that year. Stronger. Zibo Kong coughed, and after recovering, he looked at Lu Chengkong with bright eyes, but cursed with a smile on his lips. You are the one who really surprised me. No wonder the Zibo family has not completely disappeared until now. If you are here, even if the 4 major families are besieged again, it is impossible for the Zibo family to perish. You are hiding deep enough. Lu Chengkong hummed Isho, and he wasn't joking about Wilbakong, because he really thought of Zibo Kong's strength. This is the foundation of the 5 aristocrats at their peak. The Deadwood family should not be underestimated. It's a pity that the struggle for power has caused their family's overall strength to decline, and even the treasures of their own family have been forgotten. He is still dreaming there. That he is still the head of the 4 nobles is only superficial. Quote. Zibo Kong said disdainfully. His voice was full of disdain for the Kuchiki family, but Lu Chengkong agreed with Zibo Konghei's words very much. In the eyes of other gods of death, the Kuchiki family was very powerful, but he fought against the Kuchiki family so many times every time. Lu Chengkong, who has always made them very miserable, is like the Taoist Mu family. It's really just outside the strong and the middle. If nothing else, the gap between the current contemporary patriarch Zizai Kuchiki and Zibo Kong is huge. Haha, I almost forgot one thing. The 4 major families are now only the Siphon Yuan family that has not fallen. I think you may not know it yet. The true essence of the Siphon Yuan family is in the hands of Yi Yi. Yi Yi is the most talented in the Siphon Yuan family in all dynasties, and is also evaluated by the old men of the Siphon Yuan family as the most likely to surpass the first generation of the Siphon Yuan patriarch, that is, the legendary Spirit King's deceased first god of death for the people of Feng Yuan Longmu. Otherwise, how could the old stubborn people in the Siphon Yuan family let Yi Yi be the head of the house without objection? And even if Yi Yi defected, there was no sound, and they have been secretly supporting Yi Yi. I think the hidden strength of Yi Yi is better than mine. Chang, although I have never fought her, I can still feel her hidden danger from her. Her strength is not comparable to someone like Kuchiki Zia. Shiba Sokaku made no secret of his disdain for Kuchiki Zizai, and at the same time did not hide his admiration for Siphon Yuan Yaiki. Also, when Yaiki never used his Zanpakuto in the original book, he was able to stand at the forefront of all death god captains, free to come and go in the soul realm, and the title of a Shun god alone can make Yaiki the strongest. One of the Shinigami captains, not to mention that she has been hiding the Zanpakuto, Kendo, Shikai, Benkai that she is not using. Since Kong said that Yaiki is stronger than her, and because of his own reasons, Yaiki is even stronger than Yaiki who released his hidden power in the original book, then the Zanpakuto mastered by Yaiki should also be very special and powerful, and the ability of Kong. It's more similar and very unique. Otherwise, the people of the Siphon Yuan family can't be so indulgent towards Yaiki, and I really look forward to what Yaiki's Zanpakuto will be. Although Lu Chengkong has obtained Yi Yi's body and mind, he has an advantage that many men do not have, that is, he will never spy on the secrets of his own woman, even if it is the woman he loves the most, even if he knows that he only needs to ask the other party. He will tell himself all that he will not be dissatisfied, and he will not do it. That's why he didn't ask Yi Yi what Zanpakuto's ability was for so many years, and Yi Yi wanted to tell Lu Chengkong many times, but Lu Chengkong refused. He used a practical action to tell Yi Yi what he did to her. His trust also moved Yi Yi very much, and of course he finally satisfied Lu Chengkong on the bed. Anyway, in Yi Yi's opinion, as long as Lu Chengkong wants to know, he will tell her, and if he doesn't want to know her, he will not tell her, so as to leave a whole card for Lu Chengkong. Maybe in the future when facing a powerful enemy, his unknown Zanpakuto, maybe his ability could help Lu Chengkong. Of course, Yi Yi's thoughts can't be concealed from Lu Chengkong's eyes, so Lu Chengkong loves Yi Yi very much, and the situation of Luanju on the other side is similar. Very similar. They don't care about the eyes of unexpected people, and they don't care about everything, reputation and so on. They only care about how Lu Chengkong sees and treats himself, so Lu Chengkong is very loving towards Luanju and Yi Yi, and there is no preference for one over another. However, although the two women are both the virtuous inner helpers that men desire and love most, they are definitely the best candidates to be wives, but they are definitely not suitable for the administrators of the last palace. This is because of the character of the two women in charge of the harem, the mother in the world, and the temperament of other beauties invisibly convinced. And they don't have the mentality to think about these things. They only have one idea in their hearts, and that is how to help Lu Chengkong. So since Khalifa and Hancock fell asleep, no matter how romantic Lu Chengkong is, he has not been in one piece. King of Pirates World time to accept women so fast. One of the reasons is that he is worried that he will not manage the harem well, and the backyard will catch fire. You must know that in the world of One Piece, King of Pirates, Lu Chengkong can go romantic without any pressure and no scruples. One of the biggest reasons it's good is that Hancock and Khalifa are there. Now their two daughters are not here, and Yi Yi and Luanju are obviously not suitable for such tools, and they also do not have such thoughts and ideas to do this job in this position. Many times, every time I think of this, Lu Chengkong is more urgent than Khalifa and Hancock to wake up. When I came over, a figure of a person appeared in my mind from time to time. That one is Mao Zhawali. Her graceful and luxurious aura is compelling, but she has the kindness of a mother. That bearing, that mind is indeed the best candidate, of course, for the current Lu Chengkong, these can only be just think about it. After all, the strength of Ujjwali is there. This super beauty who has existed for so many years is not so easy to conquer. There are many people who have attacked her for so many years, but they have never succeeded. I believe that they will die if they have unreasonable thoughts about her. If he died, otherwise, Ujjwali wouldn't be single until now, and all male gods of death also treated him with awe. 467 Magic Blade vs Shira Ghost Eye. Forget it, don't think about it. The peaceful, quiet, compassionate aura on Ujjwali's body is just to make the people around him calm down unconsciously, calm down, and their state of mind has become very peaceful, without a trace of negativity. The most amazing woman in this world of death is not so easy to get. Lu Chengkong took a deep breath and suppressed these thoughts for a while. The priority is to solve this battle now, and now he has only 2 wives in the world of Death God, and they are walking in the same way as in the world of One Piece, King of Pirates. The elite line, he doesn't want those who don't meet his own standards, and it's time to add more candidates for the harem. Even if Yi Yi and Luanju Constitution are strong and naturally charming, but every time they are alone, they can't stand Lu Chengkong's offensive at all, and if this Zibo Kong, who doesn't know the heights of the sky and dares to doubt his own combat effectiveness, will definitely get a good relief. She must be kept out of bed for 3 days. What's more important is that there are so few people now, and the world of death is different from the world of One Piece, King of Pirates. Most of the harem candidates that Lu Chengkong looks at have lived for a long time, are very mature and rational, and know what to do and what not to do. According to the current number of people is unlikely to catch fire in the backyard. Why? Look at your eyes and tell me, you want to score the outcome with 1 hit, but whether you can force me to score the outcome with 1 hit depends on your ability. Asura Domain, Explosive Flame Wave Sword. Zibo Kong suddenly flirted with Isho, this royal sister, who has always been very violent, has such a charming side, such a feminine side is really surprising, but her actions are still very violent, and she poses so alluring. It looks so ruthless. A wave of raging flames contained powerful fire attribute damage, pressing down on Lu Chengkong like a sea wave with a scorching momentum. At the same time, Lu Chengkong only felt that his soul was completely locked, and no matter how he dodged, he would have nothing to do. Hiding, no matter where you hide, you can't escape the feeling of his attack. Is this the effect of the Asura Domain? The accurate and sure-to-hit attack, combined with the amazingly powerful Zanpakuto ability, and the terrifying ghost power that increases 16 times, is truly shocking. Lu Chengkong's face sank. If it was just the blazing flame wave sword, he wouldn't take it seriously, but the feeling of locking is what Lu Chengkong values. Comprehending that even if Lu Chengkong used the speed he was most proud of, all kinds of shunpo skills would be useless, which would be very troublesome. Hey, my attack is only now starting, that light wave formation. Zibo Kong said while he was using his own tricks, one after another, without the slightest flaw, making it impossible for anyone to break it. As the Zanpakuto Asura in Zibo Konghei's hand slammed on the ground, and with the absolute hit of the Asura Domain, circles of circular fluctuations directly wrapped Lu Chengkong, and the multi-stage attack and evil light damage continued to erode Lu Chengkong. At the same time, the explosive flame wave sword also rumbled and covered Lu Chengkong's body. Now you know how powerful the old lady is. The strength of the old lady plus the Zanpakuto, even the old man Yamamoto must be taken seriously by me. Even if the old lady goes all out, even the old man Yamamoto must bankai, otherwise, don't even think about killing him. Damn me, Bankai, your Zanpakuto is amazing, but I'm not weak either. Coupled with the background of the Shiba family, my strength is not comparable to those of the like you have met in the past. Except for the old man Yamamoto, I think I should be the second one you face against so many opponents. Be strong. Zibo Kong secretly said confidently, but she didn't say it, not counting the words of Ujjwali, Bachinliu, Yi Yi and other women. Among those who have fought against Lu Chengkong, remember that they fought, not to say Kong. Crane is the person Lu Chengkong knows, except for old man Yamamoto, who is the second strongest. Apart from old man Yamamoto and Zengi Kenpachi, who is already undergoing transformation. Zibo Kong is the strongest in front of him, and he can actually defeat Lu Chengkong. Pushed to this point, even if Jingle Chunchui and Fuju Shijiji team up with Bankai, they may not be able to do it. Because of this alone, Zibo Kong is proud of it. Kong, you have given me too many surprises. I don't know how strong Yei will be when you are rated above you. It's a pity that she is my wife, so it's impossible to do it with me, but let's learn from each other. It's still okay, and Ranju doesn't know how strong she is now, and her Zanpakuto has been fully awakened because of the violence. Her ability is not as superficial and simple as the original work. I don't know how strong the land is, I'm really looking forward to it. While countless thoughts flashed through Lu Chengkong's mind, he suddenly burst into laughter amid the turbulent flames. The blood-drinking mad knife in his hand drooped in a straight line, and said word by word. Haha, since you are Bankai, then if I don't Bankai, even if I defeat you, you will be unhappy. Bankai will be abandoned, deviant, and the magic sword will come out. Boom. The original ice blue spiritual pressure turned directly into black gold, covering Lu Chengkong's body and rising into the sky. The black gold spiritual pressure that was as substantial as it directly dispelled the explosive flame wave sword that enveloped Lu Chengkong, revealing the already big image. Lu Chengkong, who changed his clothes, also changed. The Zanpakuto in his hand had turned black and golden, with indistinct red lines on the edges, giving a magical saber that slaughtered the world, vast and lonely. Is this your Bankai? It's as simple and direct as ever. Zibo Kong glanced at it, but the clothes and the Zanpuiwei in his hand had changed. The whole person shivered when Zongkong's magic eye, a cold, suffocating feeling spread throughout the body and mind. Gaga, Kong, the game is over, the devilish energy is over. Lu Chengkong's voice has no emotional fluctuations. The emotions and desires on his body are constantly retreating as the time of enchantment increases. In the end, he will completely cut off the emotions and desires and become a real one. Magic. Bang tilde. Lu Chengkong's body began to permeate layers of black and red aura visible to the naked eye, and the black and golden spiritual pressure covering his body seemed to complement each other. They were entangled with each other and were not incompatible with each other. A feeling of the surging demonic energy rose to the extreme in an instant. The magic knife in his hand slashed into the void. The powerful force distorted the surrounding air, and a black-red moon blade with a length of more than 300 meters appeared directly out of thin air, and wherever it passed all the obstacles, including the air, were cut away, and the speed was so fast that even Zibo Konghei's murderous perception could not react in advance. 468 Eat Zibo Kong. What a terrible blade, unparalleled wave. Zibo Konghei's face changed greatly. Although she knew early on that Lu Chengkong had driven back old man Yamamoto, and even injured him, and Lu Chengkong Bankai had a lot of abilities at that time. After releasing it, I also knew one of the characteristics of Lu Chengkong Bankai. That is, with the growth of time, the strength will continue to increase, but if you haven't experienced it yourself, you still can't feel the horror of the magic knife, especially Lu Chengkong's Bankai is not as simple as the magic knife. Of course, it is now exposed to the world. At present, there is only the magic knife. Zibo Kong knew that he had to fight quickly, otherwise the time would drag on. Even if Lu Chengkong didn't use his Bankai's abilities, the fact that his strength continued to soar over time was enough to make her completely defeated. The Shira wave appeared on Zibo Konghei's body in a 360-degree circle, spreading out in all directions like a shawl, directly colliding with the oncoming black-red blade, and the tsunami-like energy wave was constantly vented. The originally sturdy barrier began to crumble, as if it would be broken at any time. Can't you stop it? You bastard, it's too strong. It's just the beginning, I can't stop the first move. Don't underestimate the old lady, don't move the Ming Wong formation. Zibo Kong said in a coquettish voice. A strange purple light erupted from his body, and an indescribable formation appeared directly at the feet of Lu Chengkong and Zibo Kong. All the enemies in the formation were directly suspended in the air and unable to move. It's useless even if you move, and even if you can dodge with the accurate and sure-to-hit characteristics of the Shira domain, it's superfluous. One after another, the huge Ming Wangyan slammed into Lu Chengkong in a continuous manner. One was more powerful than the other. A series of explosions exploded continuously. The purple firelight and the crimson light alternated with each other, forming a barrier. The earth inside has been completely cracked. The devil is rampant. It's a pity that an indifferent voice suddenly sounded from the center of the explosion. The air shook, and a huge sword light suddenly appeared in the center of the explosion. Compared with the previous blade, the magic sword was more powerful. Other than the blade, the others that followed were all terrifying and powerful swordsmen. The black and red sword light swept out the moment it appeared, like a magic road, where there is no life left. Is it still not good? Zibo Kong felt sad for a while. After all, she was always unhappy when she was defeated, but fortunately she was the kind of person with a broad mind. Thinking of the man in front of him who was about to become him who defeated him, he immediately rejoiced at him. He smiled lightly and his eyes were bright, which made Zibo Kong, a stubborn woman, reveal a very rare femininity. Zhang Kong, this is my last move, and it's also the strongest trick I can use at the moment. If you can stop it, I will lose Zibo Kong and the whole space will fall into darkness, and this dark space will fall into darkness. Suddenly it split open, revealing more than 1,000 ghost eyes, and Zibo Kong standing in the center of the ghost eyes is really the Queen of Shira, or the Queen of Ghosts. This is the final form of my Asura Ghost Eye. It combines the strongest stunt of the Ghost Path and the power of the Zanpakudo, the true form of the Asura Ghost Eye, and the Dark Sky. What a strong spiritual pressure. Lu Chengkong's eyes and pupils vivi shrank a little. This move has not been used yet, but the spiritual pressure that is brewing is already very amazing, and the strength of this spiritual pressure is still at a very high level. The astonishing speed continued to climb, and the speed was so fast that even if he wanted to interrupt Zibo Kong, he couldn't do it. Wave marking, fusion, 32-fold increase, the strongest ghost eye Shira Dark Sky Wave Eye. Zibo Kong's ethereal and hearty voice echoed in this strange space. This is my strongest move. I gave up all defense and only attacked. After this move, my Bankai will be resolved, and the wave mark on my body will also disappear. I am the weakest during this time. It can be said that this trick is life and death, my treasure chest. As soon as Zibo Kong's voice fell, the thousands of ghost eyes in the dark space immediately flashed with crimson light, and every move of the ghost eyes completely locked Lu Chengkong's figure in an instant, and there was no chance to dodge or escape at all. At the same time thousands of ghost eyes immediately shot thousands of crimson ghost beams. The space where he passed seemed to be pierced by the gap, and the 32-fold increase made the already powerful Great Dark Sky even more powerful. When I fought against Old Man Yamamoto, I only used the first 3 knives. Today, I will use the 4th knife for you. Now that I understand the devil's heart, I think I can completely control the devil's knife when the devil's heart is open. Zibo Kong, let me shatter the eyes of the dark sky, the demons are born in the sky. Quote. Lu Chengkong roared, and the demonic energy that was burning like flames scattered and reverberated in the entire dark space. A pressing spiritual pressure and aura spread out from Lu Chengkong's center, making the ghost beam with amazing speed. All for one meal. Chengkong pushing the magic knife in his hand away under the gaze of Zibo Kong, and using his strength to isolate the air, the range of the attack was greatly increased, enough to cover the entire Shira field. The blade glow with endless demonic energy twisted around in the dark space like a windmill, sweeping the thousands of troops and directly annihilating all the ghost beams that burst from it, and also annihilated all the ghost beams created by the Shira domain and the Great Darkness. The space was shattered, and of course the enchantment outside could not withstand the terrifying erosion of the magic knife and shattered directly. You lose. Lu Chengkong released Bankai, and the magic eye also closed. With a flash, he came to Zibo Kong, looked down at her beautiful eyes and said, "Yeah, I lost, to the man I liked." Zibo Kong showed his face Isho, making the originally empty land seem like countless flowers, plants and trees appeared, making people feel relaxed and happy. At the same time Zibo Kong was not shy at all, very boldly, he threw himself into Lu Chengkong's arms and kissed him clumsily and greenly. He didn't feel any frustration or loss after the defeat at all, but just endless joy. Faced with such beauty, Lu Chengkong did not refuse. Of course, he kissed Zibo Kong very skillfully, and at the same time taught Zibo Kong the kissing technique with his tongue. Maybe it was planning to fight in the field, and Zibo Kong obviously didn't care about doing his first time in such a place, and even agreed a little. In her opinion, her first time was unique, and soon the two white flowers were gone. With the sound of Zibo Konghe's high early pain, the body that was blocked by a trace has been perfectly combined. With the movements of the two, after the pain has passed, Zibo Kong has taken the initiative to stretch out his beautiful legs and wrap them around Lu. From Zhang Kong's waist, there was a coquettish groan from his mouth. 469 Kenpachi wants to liberate Zanpakudo. At this moment, there was a man covered in bandages lying in the medical room of the 4th Division of Saranje. Although he looked very fierce, his expression was very calm, as if the injured person was not him. "Captain, is this going too far?" Ace Kawamura, who is very beautiful, looked at the man in front of him and said. "Cut, I just want to fight with old man Yamamoto to see how far apart I am from an opponent of his level." Zengi Kenpachi, yes, the man covered in bandages is Zengi Kenpachi. Worried that Lu Chengkong would be beaten by a group of captains, and the old man Yamamoto, he immediately stopped the old man Yamamoto halfway. In that battle, Zengeki Kenpachi had fully used his full strength without a trace of his hand. Although he was defeated in the end, he was still honored to be defeated, because in that battle, Zengeki Kenpachi was about to make a breakthrough. Not only kendo, but also reiatsu, he actually injured old man Yamamoto. In that battle, old man Yamamoto also taught all his kendo to Zengi Kenpachi, and he did not pursue what Zengi Kenpachi did, but Zaraki Kenpachi is very clear. That time, old man Yamamoto vented some of his grievances, dissatisfaction, and love for his talents all at once. In the future, he will not hold back anyone, even his two apprentices. Maybe Lu Chengkong didn't think that the ruthless old man Yamamoto in the original Corpse Soul world was actually created by him and Kenpachi Zengmu. "Captain, how strong is Captain Yamamoto?" Madaramu's eyes flashed a blazing ray. Ignoring Kenpachi's tough mouth, he did this because he was worried about his brother's accident, but he said that I want to fight for myself. "That old man, although I am very upset with him, he is really strong. At least this time I have to lie down for several days." Zaki Kenpachi couldn't help but think about the relationship between him and old man Yamamoto. Battle picture. Is there no one in the soul world that can match him? For some reason, Ayasagawa Yuki suddenly asked a question that Madaragi and even Zaki Kenpachi didn't expect. I don't think so much. As far as I know, there should have been one before, and now there may be more, but I believe there will be several more soon. Zakagi Kenpachi grinned Isho, letting him already the fierce look looks even more ferocious. Now, there are actually two people who can match Captain Yamamoto. Who is it? At this moment, every corner of the eyes is interested. Who is it? You must know that their most admired captain can't defeat old man Yamamoto, at least not now. The first one, and the most certain one, maybe even stronger than the old man Yamamoto, everything about her is a mystery. Zakagi Kenpachi didn't know why he suddenly sold off today. "Captain, don't be rude, talk quickly," Madaramu asked anxiously. "Captain of the 4th Division, Mao Zhawali," Zaraki Jien said in a word-by-word manner. "What? Captain Uno no Hana, that captain who can only heal is actually stronger than old man Yamamoto. Captain, are you kidding me? Or did you get hit in the head in the battle with Captain Yamamoto?" Madaramu was taken aback said, "Ayasagawa Yukini by his side is not much better. If you had the vision of Lu Chengkong from the beginning, you would have discovered the extraordinary power of Ujawali, and your strength would not be limited to that." Zakagi Kenpachi didn't explain, but his words were side by side. He told the two gods of death in front of him that he was telling the truth. "So, Captain, the other person you're talking about is Lu Chengkong." said Ace Chuan Gongjin, who had a more flexible head. You are smarter than a corner. Indeed, apart from Mao Zhawali, in my opinion, only Lu Chengkong has the strength to rival the old man Yamamoto. Don't think that Lu Chengkong's strength is just that on the surface. The boy hid deeply. When I saw him for the first time, his spiritual pressure was weaker than that of the Shinigami who had just entered school, but it gave me a sense of crisis. I suspected that he was once a top player, and his strength may have regressed for some reason. May now begin to recover, said his conjecture, which was also hidden in his heart for many years, but his conjecture was really correct. The strength Lu Chengkong showed was not as simple as it appeared, at least his Benkai's ability was not at all. It can only be regarded as a part of it without showing all of it. After all, even Kuchiki Zizai's Benkai has 3 states, so how could Lu Chengkong's not have it? I think you're right, Captain, even if Lu Chengkong can't win against Captain Yamamoto, he doesn't necessarily lose if he tries his best. Maybe he didn't kill all those captains because he didn't want to forge an insoluble hatred with Soul Society. In other words, he felt that his strength was not strong enough to fight against the entire Soul world, so he left those captains with an arrow. Gong Qin said this is not a guess. At least yesterday, Lu Chengkong's powerful strength gave him a very deep impression. He killed several captains in a row, which was terrifying. For a while, the entire treatment room was quiet, and Zanaki Kenpachi was holding his Zanpakudo, all kinds of light flashing in his eyes. It was best to restore calm as if he had made a decision. It seems that I really have to communicate with the Zanpakudo in my hand, otherwise it will be boring if you throw it away and fight. That's right, the rapid improvement of Lu Chengkong's strength, as well as the battle with old man Yamamoto last night, made Kenpachi Zakagaki realize his own inadequacies, and actually gave birth to the idea of understanding Zanpakudo and completing Shikai and Benkai. Even Lu Chengkong never thought of it, but he would be very happy if he knew. After all, the current Zaraki Kenpachi can hurt the old man Yamamoto very badly, and this time he has made a breakthrough. If he can complete Shikai and Benkai, which were not in the original work, with his increasingly advanced kendo and the spirit of Shunrin pressure, he may be one of the most terrifying death gods. Kenpachi will Shikai, Benkai, really can't stop anyone. The captain has changed. He used to look at the Zanpakudo in his hand with the eyes of a tool. What he believes in is always himself, not the Zanpakudo in his hand. Haha, if the captain doesn't know Shikai Benkai is so powerful, what if he could? At that time, he will definitely be stronger than Captain Yamamoto. It seems that the captain just said that there will be a few people who are comparable to or stronger than Captain Yamamoto soon. One of them is him. Haha, there are more and more strong people, and I can't be lazy. 470 Domination Spirit. Madaramu first noticed the change of Kenpachi Zengeki, and he was overjoyed. In his opinion, Kenpachi Zengeki was perfect, but he also had a flaw that he would not release Zanpakudo. Now, he looks obviously different. How could he be unhappy when he understood the idea of liberating Zanpakudo? At the same time, he will also become stronger and more eager. I don't know that because of Lu Chengkong's influence, the heart and motivation of the corner of the eyes to become stronger are stronger than the original, and the strength is stronger than the original. What kind of scene will be in the corner of the eyes? Maybe it will be defeated. After all, there is no so-called protagonist in this world, whoever is stronger is the protagonist. Not to mention the determination of Zengi Kenpachi and others to become stronger at this time. Lu Chengkong, who has completely eaten and wiped Zibo Kong, has brought Zibo Kong back to the Soul Realm. Now Zibo Mayan is not dead. Although Zibo Mayan is not as powerful as Zibo Kong, he is the eldest son and grandson after all, and it is a matter of course for him to be the head of the house, and Kong really doesn't want to be the head of the house, so he is also very happy. Of course, he left with Lu Chengkong. Directly throw all the mess to your brother and younger brother. Not long after returning to the present world, Lu Chengkong had asked Landau to help him to study the things he had no clue, but he didn't know what happened suddenly today, or a flash of inspiration. He actually took the initiative to come to Lu Chengkong and brought it to Lu Chengkong. A surprise in the sky. Stinky brat, don't say you can't do what the old lady promised you. I'll help you get what you want, come with me. When Landau came to Lu Chengkong's room, there was no point to stop. The meaning rushed in directly, and seeing Lu Chengkong still flirting with Lu Anju, her complexion did not change at all. This may be the strength of scientists and researchers. Facing these things that many women are shy about, in her opinion, it may be a normal physiological condition and physiological needs, and there is nothing shameful about being shy at all. Kong, now I finally meet a woman with stronger nerves than you. Yi Yi, who was originally a wheat-colored skin, was now covered with a layer of attractive blush. Obviously, it was not long after the love affair. Seeing how lazy her look is, she looks so alluring. Especially her figure, although not the plumpest, is definitely slender, her coordination is perfect, her skin is the most elastic, her going proportions are divided, and she can easily perform any difficult movements and poses. She is simply a stunner on the bed. Cut, she has already exceeded the limit of a woman. She can be regarded as a scientific giant. In her opinion, this is just a normal physiological phenomenon. How could she care about everything she needs to study? Zibo Kong said heartlessly, and did not care that his attractive body was exposed to the air. It is worth mentioning that Kong did not know why the broken hand had been taken back by Lu Chengkong and asked Maojawali. The current Zibo Kong has repaired even the only place that is not considered a defect, and it is even more perfect. Although her special prosthesis does not affect her strength, even her special prosthesis hides many secrets and special functions, which can play a lot of unexpected roles in battle, but of course she can restore her original hand. I want the original hand. Lu Chengkong ignored the murmurings of the two women, and did not feel unhappy about being disturbed. Soon the two came to Lu Chengkong's laboratory specially prepared for Landau, and because Lu Chengkong didn't want Landau to sleep to maintain his physical function, he deliberately asked Maojawali to think of a way. Ujawali didn't know what to do with Landau's body. After coming out of Ujawali's treatment room the next day, Landau no longer needed sleep to maintain her bodily functions like a normal god of death, and she incorporated the spiritual child into her body when she was helping Lu Chengkong study the spiritual child. Incorporate Soma Yoshino's maternal Bavint gene into his body. Maybe Soma Yoshino is the reason for her ghost fox clone. The integration process was very smooth without any resistance, allowing her to have the same immortal lifespan as Bavint, and completely solved all the troubles, and it does not need to be after a period of time. Go back and ask Uno Hanalai to help. It's this thing, if you take it with you, you will be able to control the spiritual child according to your will, to achieve the ability you have when you activate the final form of the quencher when you take off the dispersing glove. Of course, because it is the first generation product, and you require stability and absolute control, the quality and speed of her control are far from the perfect control of the Quincy's ultimate state. Randau only shows a normal woman side when he talks about research and when facing his daughter Soma Yoshino, not an absolutely calm researcher. As this glove, I'll try it. Lu Chengkong couldn't wait to put on the gloves developed by Landau, and with a thought, he found that he could control the spirit child. Yes, the spirit child, although the speed and quality of the control were very high-slow, but it is indeed domination. You must know that the god of death only controls the spiritual power that the self-spiritual son in the body turns into. The spirits from the outside world can only be slowly absorbed and converted into their own spiritual power. After forming a spiritual pressure, they can be completely controlled. They can only be absorbed from the outside world. Only in the ultimate state of the Quincy Master can they control all the spirits in the outside world. Lu Chengkong has always had a crazy idea, that is, in his opinion, everything in the world of the god of death, whether it is a god of death, a human being, or even an imaginary, even the world of corpses and the imaginary circle, etc., are composed of spiritual sons. Then that is to say, no matter whether it is emptiness or death, their essence is the spirit child, and the most primitive time is the spirit child. So can it be said that if you return your body and soul to the most primitive spiritual sun, change the spiritual sun structure of the essence of the god of death and the virtual soul, and change the spiritual sun structure of the god of death to the virtual, or the virtual to become the god of death. Thus in this process, we find the essence of the soul constructed by the spirit sun that can accommodate the power of the god of emptiness and death at the same time. Then you are essentially breaking the limits of death and emptiness, and becoming the existence of the power of emptiness and death, instead of relying on external force to break like Eisen, instead of changing from the origin of the soul, and becoming a person who is neither a ghost nor a ghost. And the basis for the implementation of all these ideas is the need to control the spiritual child, and it is the kind of perfect control. The god of death can only slowly absorb the external spiritual child, completely transform it into the spiritual power in the body, and form a spiritual pressure. Only then can it be perfect. Control all violence in the body to achieve the ability to use Shunpo, Kendo, Kido, etc. that you need. There is no way to do it to the outside world, and it is even more impossible to control the spiritual child at a deeper level such as the Zanpakudo, etc. So Liu Chenggong thought of the ultimate state ability of Quincy Exterminator, and he has everything now. 471 The key to breaking the limit. This can only be said to be a test product. If you want to achieve your level, it is impossible to complete the taboo method. Even if my development is completely mature and perfect, it will not be able to reach your level. If you use this prop to help, the biggest possibility is to become a human being, a god of death, a god of nothingness. Even because the soul cannot be perfectly controlled when it turns into the most primitive spiritual child, it will completely lose the power of the god of death, and the spiritual power converted from the spiritual child in your body, and even the Zanpakudo pair will be lost. Landau obviously also knew what Liu Chenggong was thinking. Although she admired Liu Chenggong's bold idea, she still had to tell her conjecture. Don't think of me as an idiot, I'm just experimenting, not my own body. Of course Liu Chenggong wouldn't be that stupid. All of this is just an idea. If he can control himself, you don't need to be so troublesome. You can directly transform your soul. Where is the need for such trouble? But it's not impossible to reach the level you need. If you borrow the power of the collapse jade you said, you may be able to develop this kind of prop. Landau said suddenly. What do you mean? If I use Benyu, I absolutely don't want it. I know that with my aptitude to continue to cultivate, I can always rely on myself to truly understand the way to break the limit, but I don't have that much time. A genius can't do it without a few hundred years. I only have more than 90 years left, and the time is not enough, otherwise I wouldn't need this kind of props to assist and take risks. For the first time, Liu Chenggong hated himself for not having traveled hundreds of years earlier. If he had another 200 years of time, he would definitely believe that he could understand the limits of death and emptiness, and thus break through, instead of needing props to help him dominate the spirit. Son, I think you have misunderstood. The real power of your Benyu is to occupy the hearts of everyone around you, guide their power, and even change the structure of matter, etc. If you use it directly on the god of death or the virtual, you can indeed break the god of death and the point of emptiness. However, all this is maintained by Benyu. Once you leave Benyu, you are nothing. That is to say, it is not yourself who breaks the limit of death and imaginary, but Benyu. This is useless. I mean, you need to collapse. Jade, the material power with the ability to defy the sky, can help me develop the kind of perfect control spirit you need, and it can even completely control your soul into a spirit child rearranged structure. Landau explained very carefully that she originally studied spirit bodies and spirit suns, and of course she was interested in such experiments and research, especially after she had no worries about her body. She was very touched by Liu Chenggong's help to her, so she also decided to do her best to help Liu Chenggong. After all, she was also very optimistic about Liu Chenggong. Oh, if it's as you said, I don't mind if you don't directly use Benyu as a bridge for the fusion of the power of the ghost and the god of death, so that you can achieve the balance point of controlling the power of the god of death and the power of the god of death. You wait first. I'll go to Urahara Kazuki to get it. After Liu Chenggong finished speaking, he rushed to Urahara Kazuki's store without worrying that Urahara Kazuki would reject him. It's really impatient, but it's no wonder he it's a waste to have such an amazing idea not to become a researcher. He actually thought that this effect can achieve his own comprehension. There is no difference between the method of breaking the god of death and the virtual limit. It's amazing. Landau smiled coquettishly, and sat on the chair quietly waiting for Lu Chengkong to return. Urahara Kazuki, give me Benyu, I have some use, I will give it back to you later. Lu Chengkong came to Urahara Kazuki's store in a few short steps, and immediately asked when he found Urahara Kazuki. Here it is. Kazuki Urahara unexpectedly gave Lu Chengkong such a precious thing without any hesitation or reluctance at all. Huh, it's rare, how can it be so refreshing? This is your baby, don't you worry about what I'll do with him. Lu Chengkong looked at Kazuki Urahara in surprise, as if he had discovered a new world. After preparing for the snatch, I didn't expect Kazuki Urahara to be so refreshing. What can I do if I'm not happy? I can't beat you, I don't want to be abused by you, the final outcome is not the same, and I can see that you are very disdainful of Benyu, and will never use Benyu's power to your own body, Urahara Kazuki said very seriously. Clever, I really don't need Benyu to break the limit of death and emptiness, so even if I break the power obtained, it does not belong to me, but belongs to Benyu, and it will become a deformed child. Not only that, the power is far from comparable to the power brought about by one's own comprehension of breaking the limits of death and imaginary. Lu Chengkong was stunned for a moment and soon understood. This guy is really smart enough to find out his disdain for Benyu from such a subtle point, and of course his own strong strength would be so refreshing. It seems that he has found a way to break the limit with his own understanding. It should be that he needs Benyu to make something. Urahara Kazuki thought to himself as he watched Lu Chengkong leave. Here, this is what you said about Benyu. I will go back to practice first. I have almost reached the limit of the 4 skills of the death god. If I don't break the limit, no matter how much I practice, it will only make the spiritual pressure bigger and stronger. The essence still cannot be broken through and transformed, so I leave it to you. Quote. That's right, Lu Chengkong has already felt that an invisible barrier is blocking the pace of his going strength improvement. The quality of spiritual pressure has almost reached its limit. When the amount of Reiatsu reaches the limit of the soul's holding, it will stop. Just like old man Yamamoto, he has existed for so many years, and the accumulation and quality of spiritual pressure is very terrifying, but Lu Chengkong found that his spiritual pressure could no longer be improved after many years, whether it was the same quality or quantity. You can only keep digging out the Zanpakudo and continuously increase the power of the Zanpakudo. Okay, although I don't dare to say the guarantee, but there is at least a 50% chance of reaching your goal. Landau immediately returned to his appearance as a researcher, calmly and indifferently began to study, completely ignoring Lu Chengkong. I also used this time to maximize the 4 abilities of the Shinigami, while accumulating Reiatsu, and of course, I had to continue to tap the potential of Zanpakudo. Lu Chengkong was not only not angry, but was very happy about this. Only Landau like this could make him very relieved, so he practiced harder, and it also stimulated the enthusiasm of the girls to practice, so that the originally weakest Soma Yoshino also joined the cultivation group. 472 Breaking the Limits begins. With hope, of course one will not be blind in cultivation. With goals, one will have motivation in cultivation. This is the truest portrayal of Lu Chengkong's heart. Also, Grimjow is nothing but a Chukas, and Vasily becomes Vashi. Todd's devouring and fighting were essential before, and the two together would be the fastest speed of improvement. As long as you understand the symbol of your own strength and soul, and become a Vastord, everything is no longer simply relying on devouring to become stronger. After all, the virtual is not the god of death, there is no kendo, ghost, and the fastest way is to devour, so does the accumulation of violence. So Lu Chengkong put Grimjow back in the virtual circle, and let him face all kinds of dangers and battles alone. After all, he didn't want the mount he conquered to become a flower in the greenhouse, and Grimjow was obviously eager to be into the life and death fight in the virtual circle has been taught to him by Stark. Whether he can reach the point of crossing the original book in the future is up to him. In the frenzied cultivation, Lu Chengkong and his group completely forgot the passage of time. 10 years passed quietly. In these 10 years, Lu Chengkong has achieved instant steps, white fights, swordsmanship, and ghosts. At present, there is no extreme before breaking the limit, except that the spiritual pressure is still accumulating strength, and it has completely fallen into a bottleneck. On this day, exactly 1 year after reaching the limit, Lu Chengkong, who had been waiting for so long, finally received the news of Landau, and it was good news. The invention of controlling spiritual pressure was successful, and the degree of perfection exceeded that of Lu Chengkong and Landau. Island beyond expectations. For this reason, Lu Chengkong was so excited that he would show off his mighty power at night to smash the chrysanthemum, and on the night of the night, Zibokong Crane whipped to death, and he was so happy that his soul flew for 9 days, fluttering like a fairy. Landau, where is the invention you're talking about? After satisfying his 3 wives, Lu Chengkong also left a seed of love in Luanzhu's body and immediately came to Landau's research room, only 10 years later. Over the years, the laboratory, which was still relatively empty, has been filled with various precision instruments. It's here. Landau, who was still expressionless at first, came to his senses immediately. After all, for a researcher, the most satisfying thing developed by himself is no less than his own niece. Of course, this kind of pervert is an exception. This is the one that I successfully developed after 10 years with the power of Bengyu. It can perfectly control the spirit child, and even force his soul to disperse and return to the spirit child state without any resistance from the god of death, emptiness or human beings. Reorganize. Remember that you can't resist at all, and it can only be used when the other party is awake. A little resistance or confusion will not be able to disperse the other party's soul, so there is no way to fight the enemy, and it exists purely to break the limit. I have already experimented with some reapers or phantoms who have committed numerous evil deeds, and there have been no errors, so you can use them with confidence. Landau said confidently that this invention is not a tool, on the contrary, it is a glove. Although it cannot be compared with a substance like collapsing jade in terms of strength, the function of this piece is in Lu Chengkong's view even more terrifying than Bengyu, a strange existence. Very good, teach me how to use it quickly. Lu Chengkong said enthusiastically. He devoted himself to studying for the next week, and with his aptitude and brain, he quickly and thoroughly mastered the gloves called spirit control gloves. Use of props. He even asked Grimjiao in the virtual circle to bring the virtual, such as Kirin, Achukas, etc., as well as some criminals in the prison, the god of death. He has personally performed spiritual intelligence on them. Reorganization. What he wants is to find the most suitable structure for himself, the most suitable for the perfect fusion of void and death, in the project of spiritual reorganization. At that time, I will be able to have the ability of the virtual, and of course all the characteristics of the virtual, such as swallowing. Then the accumulation of the spiritual pressure will save a lot of time, and will soon be able to reach the kind of old man Yamamoto who has accumulated thousands of years. Reiatsu point. Of course, this process is very boring. After all, the same thing is repeated every moment, day and night. Even people with good patience can't help but feel very irritable, but Lu Chengkong is the opposite. This is related to his future. And this process is not only one person entering Lan Island, but also Yi, Luanzhu, and Kong 3 daughters also joined. After they learned about Lu Chengkong's terrible thoughts, of course they didn't want to fall behind. People, and Lu Chengkong's method was too satisfying for Yi and the 3 girls. After all, they really stayed away from the experiment of collapsing jade. Therefore, when Lu Chengkong couldn't bear it any longer, he would have a love affair with all the girls, and he was still in front of Landau. He just didn't believe that Landau was a stone girl. Lust. 20 years passed quietly in such a process of exploration. After 20 years of experimentation and exploration, Lu Chengkong was finally able to form the most perfect spiritual substructure of the god of death and the void, forming the soul. Lu Chengkong believed that as long as he reorganized according to this structure and practiced after breaking the limit, apart from the fact that he did not gain the powerful power to comprehend and break through the limit at the beginning, such a reorganization was like breaking the limit by himself. There was no difference, there was no breakthrough. The powerful power brought by afterward has exactly the same potential, without the slightest sequelae and change. It's just that one is to penetrate the essence of the soul to change, and the other is to directly change. The difference is that one has huge power and infinite potential after breakthrough, and the other has infinite potential. That huge power needs to be cultivated by yourself. The difference is here. This is not comparable to Bengyu. After there is no bottleneck. With Lu Chengkong's cultivation speed, it is very easy and stress-free to catch up with the death god or Shu who has broken the limit of his own understanding. Next, I will disperse my own soul and return to the original spiritual sun. I will only have consciousness and no power at that time. It is because of the weakest time. You must pay attention. Although there is no danger here, be careful to make the 10,000 years. Boat. Lu Chengkong commanded very seriously. Although he knew that there was no danger, he still made full preparations, and gave him the 8,000 streamers he trusted most in his life, who could completely entrust his life to her. And of course the waitresses were there, and they heard the words with serious vigilance. Even Zibo Kong became serious. I know you won't give up, but I still want to tell you, your strength is really too powerful, and the source spirit after being broken up is also very powerful. At any point, even if it is successfully reorganized into the perfect soul body of void and death, the strength will be greatly weakened, and all spiritual children cannot be lost. You better pay attention to it. Lan Dao said. 473, 8,000 stream performance. Don't worry, this is my strength, of course I will be careful. Lu Chengkong nodded, indicating that he knew that although he returned to the state of spiritual suns and his body disappeared, as long as these spiritual suns have not disappeared, then Lu Chengkong's sanity will not disappear. Therefore, as long as Lu Chengkong can control the spiritual sun that his soul has become, there will be no problem, but because Lu Chengkong is too powerful, the spiritual sun after returning is of course very powerful, and it is of course very energy-consuming to dominate. Without the slightest error. Unfortunately, the structure method I found can be used regardless of whether it is a god of death or a void, but the premise is that in addition to being absolutely sober, there is another limitation, that is, the user must reach the limit. For example, the god of death has reached the limit of the god of death, and the emptiness can only be used when it reaches the limit of emptiness. Otherwise, Lu Chengkong would have reorganized the souls of the girls around him early in the morning, so that they would practice without any scruples. However, there are still bottlenecks and shackles corresponding to the improvement of strength. Otherwise, everyone will be invincible, everyone will be a spirit king or Wang Shu, and there will be no genius or genius. The improvement of every point of strength, it's not that simple, it's just that there is no so-called limit for the soul stone under such a structure. It just depends on whether you have the ability to continuously break through and break the shackles and realms of your own words. Don't think about this, let's get started. Lu Chengkong laid out strict results in the basement early in the morning to prevent the spiritual child from slipping away. 1. Yakiryu and Shiba Sokaku, who are best at ghosts, have joined forces to set up a barrier. Everyone is on guard. At this moment, Bachenliu seems to be no longer a little lowly, a little girl, but a commander. His pupils quietly turned pink, obviously entering a state of battle. Like this, no one dared to look down on Bachenliu, because almost all those who dared to oppose Bachenliu in this state were already dead. This kind of 8,000 streams is terrible. Although Lan Dao was also a god of death, he would not have been able to live for so long even if he let his body dormant for a long time. After all, Chen Wei's lifespan increased significantly after he gave it to the god of death, and then with the strength of the god of death, the lifespan will continue to increase. Seeing that it is completely different from usual, and is no longer like a little princess porcelain doll, Bachenliu only feels himself in his heart. I felt extremely depressed in my heart, as if I would die miserably if I changed anything. Break up. Lu Chengkong snorted lowly, his mind moved, and his body slowly emitted a burst of blue light, which became illusory at a speed visible to the naked eye, and finally turned into a ball of spirits. Domination. Lu Chengkong's body disappeared, but his sanity did not disappear. He immediately activated the ability of the spirit control gloves to dominate the spirit sun. Sure enough, he managed to dominate without any resistance at all, but because of his own powerful, the so-called control of the spiritual child is very energy intensive. Arrangement. The process of arranging is very long. According to Lu Chengkong's pursuit of perfection, of course, his soul is constructed to the most perfect and impeccable level, and there is absolutely no room for a gap of number 1. This kind of perfect domination, you can arrange your spiritual sons exactly how you want to arrange them, and you can arrange the most perfect and most suitable structure for your soul. To a certain extent, it is a little better than self-comprehension. After all, not every death or emptiness that breaks the limit of self-comprehension can reach the most perfect level in his mind. After all, the same self-comprehension breaks the limit. There are strong and weak, there is perfection and imperfection, and everything depends on the talent, aptitude, perseverance, and chance of the god of death or the imaginary. Bachenliu, after your husband succeeds, do you want it? Zibo Kong was obviously someone who couldn't be quiet. Seeing that the bathroom was a bit dull with anger, he couldn't help but asked curiously. As soon as Shiba Kong said this, everyone looked over, no matter if it was Stark, Nellie L., Harabelle, or her officials. After all, they have lived here for so long, of course they know that Bachenliu's seemingly petite and cute little body contains a terrible power that does not match her body size. Mom said, in fact, with my brother and I's qualifications, and with her guidance, we didn't go in the wrong direction from the beginning. According to the most correct cultivation route, going, even if we don't use such a dangerous method, we can understand and break through ourselves in about 200 years. The limit, the system brother said that there was not enough time, so he used this extreme method. Quote. Although Kaolu Bachenliu's tone was still a coquettish lowly voice, but her expression was very mature and steady, without a trace of childishness at all. Whether my brother succeeds or fails, I will follow her, and I will never change. Bachenliu, who has been answering questions all the time, finally threw out a shocking sentence. It is really hard to imagine that he has always been like a child. Lu Bachenliu has such a side, and it is no wonder that Lu Chengkong's love for her has only increased and never decreased. You are all. If I find out that you can't do it, or dare to betray your brother, as long as you have such thoughts, I will kill you. Kaolu Bachenliu's eyes changed, it was terrifyingly fierce, and the pink spiritual pressure directly pressed down on everyone present with a heavy pressure as if it was really like the top of Mount Hai. So perverted, how did this little girl cultivate? Apache, Mira Rhodes, Sun Sun, Landau, Soma Yoshino, the 5 weakest female gods of death, female broken face, female Bavint just felt like he couldn't breathe. The pressure of this kind of spiritual pressure is different from other death gods. Like the spiritual pressure of Lu Chengkong Shikai state, it has its own unique characteristics. If Lu Chengkong Shikai's spiritual pressure characteristics are cold as frost, cold into the heart, then the zero pressure characteristic of Bachenliu is that it is as thick as a mountain and as heavy as the earth. Allah, Bachenliu, don't think that you can insult me like this by following her before her. If you say this again, even if I am not your opponent, I will not let you go. Luan Zhu and Yi Yi, Zibo Kong and the 3 girls resisted the pressure on their bodies while staring at Bachenliu with angry eyes. They were not angry that Bachenliu used spiritual pressure to suppress them, and the second was that Bachenliu actually doubted that he was right. Lu Chengkong's love and trust. 474 The liberation of strength, the perfect Bankai. Is that so? I hope you're really like what you said, and you won't give me a chance to kill you. If Kusaka Yakiryu wasn't petite like a little girl, and if she was about the same height as Uno Hanalai, with her figure, I believe she can definitely become a good harem lord. You can tell by looking at her current performance. She is worried that something bad will happen when Lu Chengkong is away. Although she doesn't believe that such a phenomenon will happen, her life in Kaolu medicine since she was a child has made her not allow any accidents to occur. So even if Yi Yi and other girls were upset and annoyed, she would do it without hesitation. It seems that the most terrifying thing here is not the blonde cow and the chrysanthemum, nor the daring to love and hate, the four who are both instant and refined, pure and dazzling, sacred and heroic, calm and passionate, as bright as blood, so that people don't know how to die. Feng Yuan Yi is not the newly added Zibo Kong, but this harmless, lovely little loli. Quote. Harabelle's eyes twinkled. Having lived in a cruel place like the virtual circle for so many years, she certainly understood the reason why Bachenliu did this. Even when Lu Chengkong was away, she had to establish absolute majesty. Although she knew that nothing bad could happen, and that Lu Anju and other women could not betray her, she still had to do it. Such a little loli is really not easy. Although I can understand Bachenliu's approach, this practice of being questioned about his love still makes Yi and the three girls very upset. Maybe their status in Lu Chengkong's heart is not as good as Lu Chengkong's, but they didn't think their love for Lu Chengkong would be smaller than Bachenliu, otherwise they wouldn't be so angry. Okay, stop arguing, Lu Chengkong has already begun to reorganize. Landau said suddenly, so that the heavy atmosphere was immediately relieved, and everyone turned their attention to Lu Chengkong, with undisguised worry in their eyes. They all want to become stronger, and even though the reasons and beliefs for becoming stronger are different, the essence is still the same. In such a world without strength, it is useless to have the protection of powerful people. This kind of spiritual reorganization that can be used by oneself and others, especially a few girls from Bachenliu, they do not want to end up falling down because of their lack of strength. To be protected by Lu Chengkong and become a burden. Hiss, it hurts. If I hadn't experienced all the hardships and pains of One Piece, King of Pirates, I might have died from the pain. It's no wonder that Ujawali said this to me before. Although Lu Chengkong has no body, if there is someone, he will definitely be able to see that he is absolutely gnashing his teeth and his face is twisted. The pain in his soul can be said to be the most painful. Especially in the process of breaking up the soul, no matter how painful it is, there can be no resistance. This is more troublesome, and the most painful thing is not breaking up, but reorganization. It's very expensive, mind. Arrange it for me. Lu Chengkong let out a roar that no one could hear. The severe pain made him forcibly maintain absolute rationality, and he controlled the surrounding spiritual suns to line up according to the structure he had imagined before. Soon a blue illusory body appeared in front of everyone. It's all right at last. The last step is to succeed once you go, restructure it for me. Lu Chengkong roared directly with the obsession of not succeeding, and his illusory body began to keep on going at a very slow speed. Mixed together, constantly compressed, with the passage of time, the illusory body began to slowly become real, and at the end, there was a deafening roar that made everyone hear. It was successful, I didn't expect it to return. Got an unexpected benefit. The reorganization of the spiritual child and the reconstruction of the soul were finally completed. At the moment of completion, a powerful spiritual pressure that suffocated the air and stagnated the air directly shattered the enchantment, rose into the sky, and reverberated in the empty seat. Over the town. For a while, whether it was Hirako Mako and others from the masked army, or Kyukawa, who was very happy to meet his wife again, or Urahara Kazuki and others, they all turned their attention to it. In the world of the God of Death, Old Man Yamamoto and a group of captains of the God of Death all had heavy expressions on their faces. Because of the arrival of the 12th Division, there was a terrifying spiritual pressure in the world. Old Man Yamamoto and others came to the laboratory. Reiatsu in the sky. That icy blue spiritual pressure that was essentially icy blue, even though there were two worlds apart, but just from the inside of the screen, you could feel an icy erosion coming from it. Needless to say, you knew who this spiritual pressure was. It's Lu Chengkong. The pupils of the old man Yamamoto shrank a little. From the density of this spiritual pressure, he could fully imagine that Lu Chengkong's strength had grown greatly again. Why can't such a genius of the sky be used by the souls of the corpse? The will of heaven is tricky, and the sky is unpredictable. The old man Yamamoto let out a helpless sigh. Among the young gods of death he had visited over the years, he was most satisfied with three people, namely, The three new giants who entered the True Central Spiritual Arts Academy, Lu Chenggong, Kaolu Bachenliu, and Zaraki Kenpachi. Has it been successful? But isn't it that this method of breaking the limit does not bring about a qualitative change and improvement in strength when it comes to self-comprehension? Why has Zongkong's strength improved again? Matsumoto Ranju was happy for Lu Chenggong and also raised the question on incomprehension. Let me answer you. It's very simple, because Lu Chenggong is different from you. His Shikai, Benkai, the difficulty of breaking the limit is far greater than yours, even more difficult than your 8,000. Do you really think is his Benkai just a magic knife? His Benkai is absolutely perfect. Have you not noticed the lack of movement skills besides the sword skills? Although he succeeded Benkai at the beginning, he also completely mastered Benkai, but because of his special reasons, even if he completely controlled Benkai, he could not use all his Benkai abilities. He can only use half of it, that is, the upper body kung fu and sword skills. Now that he has broken the limit, he has completed the Benkai, which is far more difficult than others, and can use the complete Benkai, so of course the Reiki of the half Benkai that cannot be used and suppressed is of course he has also been liberated, so his strength will increase again. A graceful figure floated into everyone's ears, and this unfamiliar voice immediately changed everyone present. They had never heard such a voice before, and it was too scary to be able to enter here silently without letting them find it. Okay, Sophie, don't make fun of them. I know you've been trapped for so long, and it's not easy to be half liberated. You can move freely within a 5-mile radius without leaving me. If you hold back, then I also know you're in a bad mood, but don't scare them. 475 Sophie appears again. Sophie. This time, even Bachenliu became curious. Although Lu Chenggong has completed Benkai for a long time, apart from Muramasa and his ability to help visualize it, even if Sophie is visualized, only Lu Chenggong can see it. So, of course, thousands of women like Lu didn't know about Sophie's existence. I don't know how to describe her, but you can understand it as my Zanpakuto body. Looking at Sophie, who is full of exoticism, sultry, plump and mature, exuding a mature and moving charm, Marceau and Lu Chenggong don't know how to explain it. Wow, my sister's eyes are so beautiful. Bachenliu, who was very mature just now, recovered immediately after Lu Chenggong's success. After hearing that this woman was his brother's Zanpakuto, he couldn't help feeling close. After all, Zanpakuto is a part of the soul of the god of death in the world of the god of death. It can be said that it is one with the god of death. In short, Sophie can be said to be a part of Lu Chenggong's soul, and it is not a bad idea to be another Lu Chenggong. She felt Lu Chenggong's breath on Sophie, and because Sophie was a woman, she was so active. Haha, Bachenliu, we are meeting for the first time now. You are amazing. As for the first girl who came to this world and saw outside through Lu Chenggong, and she was so cute and capable, Sophie Marceau also liked Bachenliu very much. We'll talk about this later. Let me introduce her. Her full name is Sophie Marceau. This is her name, not the snow drink crazy saber or the magic saber. My situation is special, it's hard to say for a while clearly, you just need to call her by a name like Sophie Marceau. Let's talk about it first. I will try the complete Benkai's ability, and then I will retreat. I will continue to improve my strength in the last few decades. After you rest, follow me to practice. It is best to strive for 6 in 10 years. You will reach the limit of emptiness or death, and then I will help you to break the limit. In 60 years, it will be very chaotic, and it will not be peaceful. Lu Chenggong gave a brief explanation, and then kissed the girls on the cheeks. He couldn't wait to establish a barrier, feel all the changes in his body, and at the same time experiment with his fully liberated Benkai. Okay, don't worry about this cultivator, but he's right, there may be turmoil after more than 60 years. Go shopping with my sister, feel the world, and have a good time for a few days before entering cultivation. Sophie Marceau said and left with all the girls. It may be that she has Lu Chenggong's breath on her body, or it may be her Zanpakuto as Lu Chenggong, or it may be the same woman. It is easy to know after listening to the network. the girls also felt that they had to have fun for a few days, and then they would start practicing. After all, no matter how good the aptitude is, if you don't practice cultivation, let alone break the limit. Soul World has been around for so many years, not to mention who has broken the limit of Death God and Void. Just cultivate all the abilities of Death God to the peak. Not many people can do it, otherwise Aizen will not be so good after reaching the peak fork, it will not be so beautiful. There will not be only one old man Yamamoto, but many captains. Obviously, it is extremely difficult to cultivate to the peak of death. For thousands of years, there may not be even 20 that can be achieved in countless days. Now Lu Chengkong is just providing them with a soul that has no real limit and can continue to break through as long as he has the ability. Whether they can reach the peak before Shu and Death break the limit depends on their own achievements, but Lu Chengkong knows to wait for 8,000 after a few days of streaming. I was going to push her to the limit. Bachin Liu's aptitude is extraordinary, otherwise old man Yamamoto and Ujawali wouldn't look down on her so much, especially with the help of Wujawali's effortless teaching. Bachin Liu's strength has been chasing Lu Chengkong's. The time when Bachin Liu reached its peak was almost the same as Lu Chengkong, and both reached their peak on the same day. After all, Bachin Liu had Mao Zhawali to guide him, and Lu Chengkong only got a few pointers, so he could make up a lot of gaps and save a lot of time. Lu Chengkong has the innate conditions of the original prophet, and Bachin Liu has the bug of Mao Zhawali, so the two are almost the same to some extent, and the two have always been inseparable, eating, drinking, sleeping, and practicing together. It was long before the two reached the limit on the same day. However, Lu Chengkong's Zanpakuto also has a heaven-defying aspect, that is, in addition to the fact that he can cultivate it himself, in addition to increasing the power of the Zanpakuto, there is another person who is also cultivating at the same time. That is Sophie Marceau. It can be said that the stronger Sophie Marceau is, the more powerful the Zanpakuto in Lu Chengkong's hands will be. Slightly more than Kusaka Yakiryu, whom Ariel Uno Hanaritsu personally taught with all his strength. 3 days later, the group of Bachin Liu who had been playing crazy for 3 days also came back. Maybe Sophie really won. The craziest of the group is her and Bachin Liu. It was as if all the loneliness before and after were made up. After returning, Bachin Liu was immediately reorganized by Lu Chengkong, and she found the most perfect structure for Bachin Liu, which was the most suitable for her soul, and successfully broke Bachin Liu's death limit. Completely mastering Bankai, she cannot be used without being suppressed, so her strength has not improved much. With Lu Chengkong and Bachin Liu, the two leaders who have made breakthroughs in succession, they may have been stimulated by Bachin Liu. Yi Yi, Luanju and even the lazy Kong He joined the crazy cultivation group. Nellie L, Stark, and Harabelle, who all have clear goals, were also infected, and they practiced hard. For them now, devouring doesn't have much effect. Even if devouring an emptiness of the same level or an emptiness stronger than oneself, it will at most increase the spiritual pressure and increase the density of spiritual pressure. Turning into a perfect broken face, if they don't break through Vastord, no matter how much they devour, it will be in vain. With so many people cultivating together, not only will they not be lonely, and life will not be lonely, but there are so many competitors, and everyone is not someone who easily admits defeat, death, emptiness, so when there are competitors competing with each other, of course, the speed of strength improvement will not be slow. It is precisely because of this that Lu Chengkong and others have almost forgotten the passage of time. More than 60 years have passed by their selfless cultivation. They would not know if it wasn't for Fei Zhen, who served as Lu Chengkong's maid, to remind Lu Chengkong. I don't know, it's been more than 60 years. 476 Eat Fei Zhen. Fei Zhen, I've already said it. Don't call me master, it's better to call me young master instead, and don't keep calling yourself my maid. Live, Lu Chengkong said with a bit of a headache. Fei Zhen thought that she was weak and useless, and couldn't help Lu Chengkong in any way. There is no way to repay Lu Chengkong's kindness, so she has always done her duty as a maid, serving Lu Chengkong wholeheartedly, and she doesn't mind the hard work, quite a bit like the One Piece king of Pirates world. The style of Salah's after the annihilation of the country. Fei-Jen is useless, I can't help the Lord, what is it, young master, I can only do some rough work. I hope the young master can give Fei-Jen this opportunity and not deprive Fei-Jen of his value. Fei-Jen looked at Lu Chengkong with big watery eyes. Her character was very gentle, soft on the outside and firm on the inside, which was much more attractive than Rukia. Zhang Kong is very popular in this group, and no one will look down on her because of her weak strength. Really, is the maid that good? Do it quickly. Lu Chengkong was speechless, but at least Fei-Jen took a step back, no longer calling him master, but young master. Just when Lu Chengkong was about to ask Fei-Jen to help him get some food, Fei-Jen suddenly took off his identity clothes, revealing a body that was as white as jade, exquisite and petite, yet beautiful, under Lu Chengkong's surprised eyes. She came to Lu Chengkong with a shy face, and took off his clothes very carefully. Why, although it is said that love is born over time, and he also admits that he is very good, he does not believe that Fei-Jen will fall in love with him. After all, he is not so narcissistic. People in the world of death are especially powerful and powerful. The virtual lifespan is very long, and the mind is also very firm, but it is not simply that a long-term relationship can capture a death god, take Yi and Luanju for example. The love that lasts until death is also accumulated through a long period of time and various encounters. How can you fall in love with someone like the earth at every turn? It is normal to have a good impression, but having a good impression does not mean that you will come together. Good feelings just make each other more pleasing to the eye when they look at each other. It has nothing to do with liking, love, especially in the case of such a long life. In addition to the political marriage of the big family, many gods of death or virtual unions have been tested for a very long time, and finally come together after many confirmations that nothing is wrong. It can be said that a real marriage is difficult here. Forming. I know that Fei-Jun's appearance is not attractive to the young master, but Fei-Jun still wants to do it. This is my duty and my only capital. The young master not only took in Fei-Jun, but also saved Fei-Jun. True life, for Fei-Jun, is no less than the rebirth of parents, and I can't repay it. And the young master also promised me that as long as I find Rukia, I will also take her in. If Fei-Jun doesn't do anything, Fei-Jun will feel uneasy. Maybe the young master thinks that Fei-Jun is doing herself a lot, but it's not true. Although Fei-Jun doesn't falling in love with the young master is not qualified to love the young master, but Fei-Jun has only one man in her life. Although Fei-Jun's face was blushing, her voice was very firm, and she had an irresistible look, which made Lu Chengkong's heart vibrate for Vivi. Such a woman may be ordinary, but what she did was absolutely absolute. It has made many ungrateful death gods, empty, and noble countless times. At this moment, Lu Chengkong also understood why this Rukia's sister had so few appearances in the original book, but she was remembered by so many people. Young master, please ruthlessly violate Fei-Jun. You don't need to pity Fei-Jun. This is what I voluntarily do from the bottom of my heart. There is no reluctance. Please keep the last bit of dignity for Fei-Jun. Fei-Jun said that she lay quietly on the bed, with a gentle and peaceful expression. There was no desire in Lu Chengkong's eyes, but only tenderness. She was moved by this woman, and her gratitude at that moment was not lost at all. In Nelia Lu and Harabel, Lu Chengkong reached out and stroked every inch of Fei-Jun's body. With his superb skills, Fei-Jun quickly flushed and panted. Her snow-white skin had a charming layer of features, and her lower body was even more soaked. Although Fei-Jun didn't die because of her weak soul through Landao's help, and because of missing Rukia and the pressure from Kuchiki's house, her body was still very weak. If you are fully prepared, Lu Chengkong's inhuman capital will make her faint. When Lu Chengkong was sure that Fei-Jun was ready, as long as he was careful, he should be able to bear it. So Lu Chengkong mentioned the giant dragon of his and entered Fei-Jun's slightly frightened and shy eyes. Fei-Jun peach blossom sprang. Ah! When a cry of pain rang out, along with the red blood dripping onto the sheets, forming a beautiful and poignant plum blossom, it also announced that the world once again lost a beautiful girl, and there was one more beautiful young woman. Don't pity Fei-Jun, come on, take possession of Feijun fiercely, and make Feijun your woman. Feijun's words completely ignited the battle, and the two immediately started the movement to create people. Of course, this madness was relatively speaking. Lu Chengkong was very gentle in order to take care of Feijun's body. After the clouds and the rain dispersed, Lu Chengkong lay on the bed with Feijun, who still had the afterglow of love and tears on his face, thinking about things quietly. Strange, Kurosaki Masaki is definitely a human being, but I secretly found Mako. They helped me for so long and couldn't find it, but now it appeared at the same time as Kurosaki Ishin, and there was already a family when they appeared. Could it be? The world is too big, they are hidden somewhere. Or is it that Kurosaki Ishin and Kurosaki are from the same family? Not likely, one is a god of death and the other is a human, but the surnames of both Kurosaki are really interesting possibly. That's right, although Lu Chengkong has been cultivating frantically for the past 60 years. After all, after breaking the limit, he can soar his strength without any scruples. As long as he can break the shackles, there will be no limit, so his strength in the past 60 years, there has been a great improvement. Similarly, she doesn't intend to let go of a beauty like Kurosaki Masaki. As for the birth of Kurosaki Ichigo, he doesn't care at all. It's a pity that after searching secretly for so long, he has not found Kurosaki Masaki and Kurosaki Ishin exist. On the contrary, when they appeared, they seemed to appear out of thin air. It was very strange, and a family had already been born when they appeared. It's a pity, maybe they became husband and wife a long time ago, or it's possible that Feijun is already a god of death. Later, he gave up everything and turned into a human like the original one. 477 Angry Zibo Kong. What did you say? Zibo Kong said gloomily, his face ashen. The murderous aura and spiritual pressure on his body seemed to make the nearby sand and stones float up. Zibo Heian was seriously injured, so he should have been implanted into the void, and became the same as the three of Liu Quanxi. Even if he finally got the strength of the void, his strength has soared for a while, but after the soaring, there is not much room for growth, unless implant the Bengyu directly into the soul to improve with the power of the Bengyu. Quote. Lu Chengkong put the information that Zaraki Kenpachi secretly let death come to give him in front of Zibo Kong. Zibo Kong immediately picked up the information in his hand and read it seriously, not missing a word. Fortunately, Kenpachi sent two of the gods of death, Madaragi and Ace Xuanyang, and finally arrived in time. Otherwise, Zibo Heian would have collided with the tip of a god of death and chose to sacrifice himself. He survived, but was imprisoned by Room 46. Without the pressure from the outside world, it shouldn't be a problem to suppress this not-so-powerful phantom with Heian's strength, but without the healing of the collapsed jade, it will be very dangerous over time. The room sent people to seal it, and it was just willpower to suppress the emptiness in the body. Lu Chengkong knew that this happened, especially after eating Kong. He was more interested in his brother-in-law, and Zibo Heian was as forthright and straightforward as Kong, so Lu Chengkong secretly informed Zibo Heian early in the morning to be careful. At the same time, for the sake of safety, he asked Tsuragi Kenpachi himself or someone he could trust to follow Shiba Yumetsu, but he didn't expect an accident in the end, and it was said that Kenpachi planned to rush there in person. It's just that I don't know why the 46th room issued an order to gather all the captains, as well as the high-pressure policy of old man Yamamoto. In desperation, Zakagi Kenpachi had to pin his hopes on his two most satisfied men of death, but only unexpectedly. It was still a step too late. I think Aizen set the target on Heian's body. Kenpachi was also hypnotized by the person in the 46th room with Kyoka Shueyu in his hand, so that he couldn't rush out. Maybe this is Aizen's last blur. Experiment, Lu Chengkong said. Bastard Lan Ran, my mother will never let him go. I will go back and kill him immediately, and Heian, I will save him. Zibo Heian took care of her very much since she was a child, and gave all good things to her sister, especially when the Zibo family fell down when they were young. Their two siblings suffered a lot of scorn. Both of them were Zibo Heian. Now that Zibo Heian has an accident, Zibo Kong is of course angry. Lu Chengkong looked at Zibo Kong, who was furious and knew that it was useless to stop her. Just when he was about to get up and follow Kong, a sudden spiritual pressure appeared in the corner of his eyes, causing Lu Chengkong to stop. Wait, Kong, maybe things have changed. Lu Chengkong's words made the angry Kong regain his senses, feeling this strange spiritual pressure and forcibly suppressing his killing intent. Waiting for this spiritual pressure, the master arrives. Master Lu Chengkong, Master Yi, Master Luanju, Master Kong, this is what the captain gave to you. Although Madara Muyijao is as arrogant and fighting mad as Kenpachi, he knows that the group of people in front of him are all powerful people when they are in the soul realm. How can he dare to put on airs, and he is very similar to Kenpachi in character. As long as you are pleasing to the eye, even if you are weak, he will take care of you very much. Give it to me. Zibo Kong grabbed it anxiously, and quickly scanned it at a speed of 10 lines at a glance. Yi Zhao, do you have anything to tell me about Kenpachi? Lu Chengkong asked. Yes, the captain asked me to tell you that you don't need to go there for the time being. Zibo Heian will be fine in the future, because Captain Yamamoto feels that this incident is related to the affairs of the many vice captains and captains in the Soul Society. So I ordered a thorough investigation of this matter, and because of this, Vice Captain Heian was also unsealed by the spiritual pressure and subdued the virtual body in his body, and the captain also said that it would be fine if Vice Captain Heian died, but if he didn't die now, this matter the people behind the scenes may use Vice Captain Heian as bait to lure you there. Madaramu glanced at this man who was called by his own captain to be comparable to Captain Yamamoto, and his record really impressed Madaramu. Every time he was basically besieged by many captains, and he was always alone. Dominating the crowd, such a person is certainly worthy of admiration from a man like Ban Muyijao. In this way, the people behind the scenes originally set up Kenpachi, thinking that Heian would surely die in this case. It seems that he knows Heian's character very well, otherwise he would not have made this poisonous plan, but he didn't expect Jonpachi. And the backhand. Although your timely arrival was not prevented in the end, it also allowed Heian to survive, so he knew that Heian must use Bengyu to be safe, so he used Kyoka Shueyu's ability again to cooperate with Old Man Yamamoto's order to investigate thoroughly. This thing is totally messed up. Let us in this world know that in order to be in a hurry, we must take Bengyu to treat Heian as soon as possible. If we don't go for a while in the future, I think he will use various means, such as sealing Heian's spiritual pressure to make Shu grow stronger. Forcing us to go. With his wisdom that he had lived for so many years and his knowledge of Aizen, Yusuk, and the world of death, he immediately told Aizen that the plan was very strict and not many people knew about. What a great wisdom, unparalleled strength, and such wisdom. No wonder the captain always regards him as his biggest competitor. He is simply a perfect death god. Shocked, yes, it is shock. The admiration in Lu Chengkong's heart is just like the water of the Yellow River, just like the water of the Yellow River. Looking at you, what he's doing is Kazuki Urahara's bastard's Bengyu, and so is this bastard. What are you doing with this kind of thing? I'll settle the account with him later. Husband, if it's really what you assumed, we won't bring Bengyu. In the past, if you go directly to save him, wouldn't the people behind the scenes not be able to hear Bengyu? Zibo Kong said fiercely at first, and immediately expressed his doubts to Lu Chengkong. Didn't you notice what we said? The people behind the whole thing will be hidden behind the scenes. If we don't take Bengyu, he has nothing to lose at all. On the contrary, he can manipulate the power of Soul Society behind the scenes to deal with us invaders. He has no loss at all, and after so many years, I think he also has such an idea. One stone kills many birds. He also intends to find out us through this. Strength. 478 Rukia arrives. Furthermore, he can completely seal Zibo Konghei's spiritual pressure just in case we don't take Bengyu with him, so that he can be swallowed up by the virtual as soon as possible and completely silenced, and then we will be dragged by the power of the soul world again. Stay, even if you want to leave, it will take some time to retreat back to the present world. He only needs to move a little bit, and with his knowledge of the virtual experiment, he can completely set the time, and he will be completely swallowed by the virtual before we return to the present world to treat Heian, so no matter what the final result is, we will take Bengyu to him or not. Without the slightest loss, he can achieve his goals, and if he can implement such a plan, can't he implement the second one? Lu Chengkong had to explain in detail, which made Zibo Kong suddenly realize. Damn guy actually took advantage of Heian. I said that Heian, that bastard, don't go to Saranje to be the captain, where the struggle is too dark, but he didn't hear about revitalizing the Zibo family. The Zibo family must have a person be the captain. Well, now the captain didn't even have an accident when he was himself. Although Zibo Konghei's voice was annoyed, he couldn't hide his concern, and he felt like he hated iron. Then what should we do now? Bring Bengyu to rescue Heian immediately or? Although Zibo Kong is smart, she is not such a calculating person after all, and the victim is her brother, she suddenly also, there are no gods. It's very simple, one word, etc. From what I know about him, it is impossible for him to have only such a bait. This plan seems to be rigorous, but it is not perfect. He is also the kind of person who pursues perfection, and he has no idea of his own IQ. Very confident, it is impossible to just put out such a plan. What he likes most is to solve all the problems at one time, and it is rare to solve it in several times. After all, it is easy to expose his secrets and reveal clues. His purpose is very simple, one is to collapse Jade, the other is to find out about us. The strength is good for him to prepare for a series of things in the future. To achieve such a goal in one go, such a plan alone is not perfect. Don't worry, Heian will be fine, at least not until we go to Soul Realm. On the contrary, if we don't give him time to arrange the whole plan and let him mess around in a hurry, it may be more troublesome. Now the initiative seems to be in his hands, but in fact it is in our hands. As long as we don't move, I believe he will be so happy, and slowly arrange this plan to the point where he has the most perfection and the fewest flaws. Believe me, come on, Kong, the world will be in chaos soon. Lu Chengkong held Zibo Konghei's Ruyi and comforted softly. 3 months, I'll only wait for 3 months. After 3 months, you must accompany me to rescue Heian. After Zibo Kong took a few deep breaths to calm himself down, Lu Chengkong echoed in his mind. If. So she gave her own bottom line. After all, in her opinion, no matter what the outcome was, Lu Chengkong would save Heian. In that case, just wait a little longer. Don't worry, maybe we will go to Soul Realm in 3 months. Lu Chengkong smiled at Yu, and secretly said in his heart, Aizen, don't let me down. If I'm not wrong, Heian's original work after the death of Rukia hit the world, and now she is not dead, then I believe that your plan will be implemented as well. You should use Zibo Heian and Rukia together to make the shocking conspiracy in the original book even more shocking. Are you worried that we won't come? Increase the bait and chips, hehe. It seems that you also notice the existence of Kurosaki Ichigo. Also, his Reiatsu is like a light bulb, it is difficult not to be noticed. The development of the matter was exactly as Lu Chengkong had guessed. After more than half a month, Rukia, the heroine in the original novel, didn't die because of Zibo Heian, but she was still in a bad mood. So Shuru Yukitaki was worried that she would mess up, so under the control of Aizen behind the scenes, Shuru Yukitaki sent Rukia to the world, and the plot finally started. Is this the real world? I hope Captain Fuju didn't lie to me, and Vice Captain Heian will be fine. It's okay, if you care about it, you will be in chaos. With my strength, I can't help you there. Just come here to calm down your mood. Somewhere in the world, Xuanji Gate suddenly opened, and a goddess of death who looked exactly like Feijun walked out with an unhappy face. Although she looked the same as Feijun, her temperament was two extremes. Rukia is stubborn, fragile, strong and rude, but her mind is very delicate. Maybe because of her childhood life, and because she did not become a noble of Kuchiki Rukia like the original, her character has not been suppressed in any way, which is better than the original. And nothing less than the typical knife-mouthed tofu heart. Weijun, have you seen her? You have done what I promised you, and I think you can see it too. The god of death who looks exactly like you, Rukia. It's just that Rukia doesn't know about in an unknown place. A man and 3 women are looking at her. It's really like it. People who don't know you two can't tell the difference, but your temperament is quite different. One of the women is, of course, Matsumoto Ranju, and the grass deer Yakiryu on Lu Chengkong's shoulder. As for Yi Yi, she had planned to come to see the twins, but she was worried that Konghi would lose control or mess up, or be sad. Therefore, as Konghi's best sister, of course, she must stay by Konghi's side to comfort her. Rukia, you're really fine, that's great. Fei Zhen didn't speak, but her watery eyes were filled with tears, which turned into teardrops that fell to the ground. Let's go, thank you young master. Fei Zhen bowed to Lu Chengkong very gratefully. Although the two had already had a relationship, Fei Zhen still insisted on calling him that, and she still put herself in the position of a maid, which may have risen a bit. From a maid to a concubine, in her words, she can't be spoiled. Why don't you meet each other? Lu Chengkong said in surprise, but he could see that Fei Zhen's face was full of recognition. Although Fei Zhen really wants to meet Rukia, no matter what, Fei Zhen is sorry for Rukia, and my presence may make her life and her bad mood even more uncomfortable, chaotic, and the young master believes in Fei Zhen so much that he even told Fei Zhen such a secret. Of course Fei Zhen can't ruin the young master's plan because of her own reasons. Fei Zhen's very generous and decent answer made Matsumoto Ranju and Lu Chengkong Yachinliu admire her for a while. It seems that the 3 of them still underestimate Fei Zhen. This is a typical lady, and she is very intellectual. No wonder everyone likes Fei Zhen so much, especially the eyes of Matsumoto Ranju looking at Fei Zhen are even more brilliant. 479 The transformation of Matsumoto Ranju. Obviously, Matsumoto Ranju sees that she is definitely the most dominant among all the women in Lu Chengkong. Her beautiful appearance, plump, proud figure that makes countless women feel ashamed, as well as her charming temperament, the beauty of her body. Feminine charm. In addition to his help and love for Lu Chengkong, he was also the first person to have a relationship with Lu Chengkong. He was the first person, and should be the most important in Lu Chengkong's heart besides Bachenliu. But now it seems that she is a little too confident, although she is not wrong, because she is the first person in this world Lu Chengkong, plus all the above appeals. She is indeed the most important person in Lu Chengkong's heart except for Bachenliu. Even if it is Yi Yi, it is slightly worse. Who let Matsumoto Ranju get on the bus first and then make up the ticket, occupying the first position. However, after seeing Fei Zhen's performance, especially after hearing the last sentence of being a spoiled child, she even understood a little bit of her own shortcomings, that is, she was too confident. Although this won't happen to the point of being a spoiled child, but if you are too naughty, don't pay attention to details, and accidentally exceed this level, it will easily reduce your position in Lu Chengkong's heart, although this possibility is also very small. After all, Matsumoto Ranju is a very good royal sister. Fei is really generous and decent, pays attention to all details and everything about herself, and no matter what happens, the first thing she thinks about is not what she should do, but whether she will have any bad influence on Lu Chengkong. Matsumoto Luanju is confident that she can do it too, but she is surprised that Fei is really the same as herself. Also, being able to distinguish her own status, being intellectual and gentle, and adding a sentence of being petted and spoiled made Matsumoto Ranju put away her self-confidence. Although her capital is the best and surpasses other women, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't mean that other women in Lu Chengkong don't have their own unique highlights, advantages, and attractive places. It was Fei Zhen's remarks today, and her arrival, that made her change invisibly, and she began to have a kind of graceful, virtuous and generous, with the amount of guests, treating others and herself in the face of any situation. Everything thought of Lu Chengkong in advance. Jean was originally just a virtuous inner helper, and did not become the manager of the harem. She, who was the master of the harem, began to gradually move and change to the position of the master of the harem. This was something that Lu Chengkong did not expect after today, but Lu Chengkong is of course even more of joy. Originally, Luanju's body, appearance, temperament, and figure were attractive enough, but now there is an extra kind of harem like Hancock and Khalifa, the graceful bearing and temperament of the 3 palaces and 6 courtyards, which makes her more attractive to Lu Chengkong, charming bigger. Chengkong's heart, and even Lu Chengkong has unknowingly gave birth to love for her. At least barely equal. After all, she is Lu Chengkong's first woman in the world of Death God, and one of the earliest harem lords. In this respect, she is barely able to meet Lu Chengkong's weakest and smallest first encounter in the world of One Piece, King of Pirates. The comparison between Khalifa and Hancock is, of course, only about the conditions and circumstances in this regard. The changes on the chaotic chrysanthemum boat, although only small, are actually very similar to the temperament of Maujawali, Khalifa and Hancock's 3 daughters, holy, intellectual, generous, elegant and noble. However, she just appeared very weak, but she will definitely become such a woman in the future. I didn't expect that the chaos of chrysanthemum would change here. It seems that the master of my harem was born ahead of schedule. Lu Chengkong didn't seem to have it on the surface, but he was both surprised and happy in his heart. After all, the development and changes of Matsumoto Ranju were beyond his expectations, and it was still good. How could he be unhappy? It's all a good thing. I really should thank you, Aizen, although Rukia came here. I don't know why, but Ranju's transformation is always good. Finally I have one that can make me feel completely at ease. The Lord of the Harem helped me hold on to the scene, but I don't know when the chaos of chrysanthemums will be as intense as Maujihua. Lu Chengkong burst into laughter in his heart, but on the surface he wore a gentle smile, watching Rukia disappear from sight before leaving with the 3 girls beside him. Has Aizen acted? Is the target Bengyu? Kurosaki Isshin, lost the power of the god of death. You are useless in a short period of time, but your son, Kurosaki Ichigo, is not easy. Especially the spiritual pressure in the body. Your Kurosaki family is really mysterious enough, but the spiritual pressure of Kurosaki Ichigo is a bit strange. It seems that it does not belong to him, but a certain death god uses some kind of secret method to transfer all his spiritual pressure to him, so that after he becomes a death god, he slowly absorbs the spiritual pressure in his body, turns it into his own use, and grows. The speed has been increased countless times. It's interesting. No wonder Aizen pays attention to your son, but Aizen should be the Bengyu in my hand that you are doing so much. Well, I was framed by you back then and made me a traitor in the Soul Society, which is disgraceful. Since you like it so much, I will fulfill you. Although I can't control Bengyu, no one knows Bengyu better than me. Giving you infinite power, it will also become your life reminder, and soon you will try what it means to become a jade, and a failure to collapse. Urahara Kazuki is a real wise man. If Lu Chengkong didn't know everything about the original book and his own experience in advance, he really couldn't fully guess Aizen's plan, but Urahara Kazuki really guessed by his own wisdom. To all the purposes of Aizen. He has even begun to plot against him, but fortunately Urahara Kazuki is not the kind of ambitious Aizen, otherwise he might be even more terrifying than Aizen. Masaki Kurosaki, it's time to wake you up. After Lu Chengkong returned to his palace, he came to a very tight basement. On the table lay a beautiful woman with blonde hair that gave off a very gentle look. It was Kurosaki Ichigo who was attacked by Shu, and Kurosaki Ichiksen couldn't get there because he lost the power of the god of death, but he was met by Lu Chengkong who had just left the customs and saved her easily. Lu Chengkong had already made up her mind about this woman a long time ago, but she seems to be quite mysterious. When she appeared, she was already with Kurosaki Isshin, and Kurosaki Ichigo was born for a few years. Shangli Chengkong has been in seclusion all the time. There is no chance, of course such a good opportunity will not be missed. 480 pushes Kurosaki Masaki. In order not to let people find out that Masaki Kurosaki was not dead, Lu Chengkong deliberately obtained a high defense spirit skeleton of Masaki Kurosaki from Randao, and let her be eaten by Kurosaki Ichigo instead of Masaki Kurosaki. In fact, the real Kurosaki Masaki was secretly rescued by Lu Chengkong long ago. At the same time, he didn't want to leak the rumors, so he sealed her up early in the morning. It had been sealed for many years, and it was time to unblock her. Let's not say that your beauty is comparable to that of Luanju, at most it is at the same level as Ju Nanbai, but your mature and moving MILF charm, your gentle and beautiful face, and your mature and sultry figure, plus your identity makes your charm has risen a lot. Lu Chengkong walked to the mother of the original protagonist Masaki Kurosaki, looked down at the in front of him, stretched out his hand and stroked her smooth face, muttering to himself. You are so evil, you don't even let other people's wives go. A voice sounded in Lu Chengkong's heart. Needless to say, there was only Sophie. Maybe it was because of the many years of holding back, or maybe it was broken by Lu Chengkong. Sophie also developed in the direction of the witch, and began to be a little evil. In exchange, Sophie saw that Lu Chengkong would not stop him from doing this, but he would definitely not give Lu Chengkong a good look. But now, instead of being angry, he started talking about it. Hee, Kurosaki Masaki is already dead in the eyes of the world. What else is someone else's wife? I said you've become a lot worse. Lu Chengkong was speechless. Although this Sophie was still as noble and elegant as before, she actually showed such an evil side when facing her alone. It seemed that she was brought down by herself, or she was so suffocated in her own spiritual world. For many years, it was suffocating. Don't make excuses, giggling, the mother of the protagonist of the original book. This is the only thing that aroused your desire. Don't forget that when you crossed over to this world, you saw all my memories, and I also saw your past. All memory. It's no wonder that after you came to this world, you will be so unscrupulous and unscrupulous. You don't feel any guilt in any push. It turns out that it is so similar to the little Japanese anime you mentioned. Yes, Sophie knows why Lu Chengkong was so bad in the world of Death God than in the world of One Piece King of Pirates. Although the world of One Piece King of Pirates is also a Japanese anime, everything in that world has little to do with Japan, but the world of the God of Death here, especially in the world of souls, the kimono, Japanese swords, etc. The little Japan of the earth is strikingly similar, and Lu Chengkong is of course unscrupulous. But Sophie Marceau doesn't think it's a big deal. After all, the weak survive and the strong eat the fittest. Take Lu Chengkong as an example. He doesn't have such a powerful strength to sit on so many peerless beauties. If Lu Chengkong was just an ordinary person, any peerless beauty around him would have turned into a disaster, and many people robbed him and killed him. Therefore, Lu Chengkong has always attached great importance to the strength of his wife. He just hopes that in the event of an accident or special situation, such as being injured or weak, he will also have tyrannical strength to make the enemy fearful. Lu Chengxi has a better understanding. Especially Lu Chengkong's selection of candidates for the harem is very strict. Lu Chengkong's rear officers and soldiers can be absolutely trusted and assured, and the occurrence of betrayal is absolutely prevented. It is definitely an extremely terrifying force. Now, it was Yi, Konghe and the three girls of Luanju, who were enough to shock the Soul Society with their own strength. People like Sophie Marceau, who have lived for so long, see it clearly better than many others. They see through the essence of everything. To get the best things, you must have strong strength. Only with strength can you be unscrupulous. The cost of running everything, doing whatever you like. You really know me too well. Ban and release. Lu Chengkong's evil issue. He has already decided since he came to this world, what he wants to have. He must get what he wants, even if it is robbing. Come here. It doesn't matter if you do anything. He doesn't need to care about any scruples at all, as long as his fist is big enough. Kurosaki Masaki's body immediately burst into a dazzling light. After a while, Kurosaki Masaki's closed eyes moved slowly, like a sleeping princess who was about to wake up. Let Lu Chengkong move in his heart, and your incarnation became the dead wolf. Prince kissed Kurosaki Masaki's lips, and a prince kissed the princess. It's so uncomfortable, why can't I open my mouth, huh? Who am I? By the way, I'm Kurosaki Masaki, am I dead? Why am I here? My mouth is so warm, so comfortable, can't I? Is someone kissing me? No. Kurosaki Masaki, who had just woken up and was still a little blurry, immediately recalled everything at an astonishing speed. Her charming eyes suddenly widened, and she finally saw the man in front of her clearly. He saved himself, took a spirit skeleton that looked exactly like himself to eat it, and brought himself here. Without giving himself a chance to resist, he sealed himself and fell asleep. Ooh, let me go, you pervert, bastard, I'm a married woman, you want a woman to find someone else. Kurosaki Masaki turned his head to the left, and finally opened Lu Chengkong's kiss. His eyes widened. There was a strong anger in his eyes, and the anger in his eyes seemed to burn Lu Chengkong to the ground. What I want is you, a married woman. Kurosaki Masaki is already dead in the eyes of outsiders. Now you are just a piece of cargo that I saved, and everything about you is under my control. It may be that he realized Bingxin because of the devil's heart. Lu Chengkong's actions are more aggressive and reckless than before. In his opinion, any morality is bullshit, and his fist decides everything. Who is your cargo? Even if I die, I won't let you do your best. Kurosaki Masaki was uncharacteristically, no longer a gentle and virtuous mature woman, but a chaste martyr who actually committed suicide by biting her tongue. It's a pity that Lu Chengkong didn't give her this chance at all. He stretched out his hand and used Lu Chengkong's strength to face a woman who had been sleeping for so long and had the same strength as an ordinary human. And wiped the neck with a knife. Scoff. After sealing Kurosaki Masaki's mouth, so that she couldn't bite her tongue, Lu Chengxi's unsatisfied desire in Hijen immediately surged up, and he tore Kurosaki Masaki's clothes apart, regardless of her punches and feet. Kick. It may be Kurosaki Masaki's identity. She may be a mature woman, or it may be a. Lu Chengkong's desire has reached an unprecedented climax, and a sad scream from Kurosaki Masaki pierced her long absence. In the peach blossom spring of 2009, a man and a woman performed the ceremony of Duke Zhou in this basement.